Chapter 609. Boom! Within the Big Dipper sect, divine light erupted, rushing into the heavens. This was the scene of the heavenly pool opening. It was like a condensed sea of stars that was rapidly magnified. Vast energy waves filled the air and surged out endlessly. The heavenly pool opened once again, but Su Yen used it several times more. After all, due to the nourishment of Big Dipper's origin, the spiritual essence in Hokuto had increased sharply, not to mention the heavenly pool. Divine power surged between heaven and earth, burning with a monstrous vitality. At the moment of opening, various cosmic stars appeared and rotated in the void. Each of them was resplendent and contained divine essence. That's the heavenly pool of my sect. This is the first time I've seen it open. I wonder if the energy in the heavenly pool can prolong eldest senior brother's life? Eldest senior brother's injuries are too severe. It's much more serious than when he fought Shueguan. I really hope eldest senior brother can climb up and survive this calamity. He definitely can. Eldest senior brother survived such a powerful calamity, let alone a heavenly tribulation. Eldest senior brother can definitely climb up. Many disciples stared at the heavenly pool in the restricted region. The pool was resplendent and dazzling. The pool seemed to have filled up this entire ancient star sea. The energy was too exuberant, transforming into all kinds of cosmic bodies. Irregular scenes appeared one after another. The pool was overflowing with auspicious clouds and divine splendor. At the moment when Big Dipper's origin was awakened, Big Dipper's origin bestowed upon Hokuto. The divine power in the sect increased sharply, and the heavenly pool's harvest was even greater. The divine power inside was almost filled to the brim. The value of the precious liquid in the pool was difficult to measure. This was a treasured land for cultivating the starry sky combat physique. It was also one of the top resources in Hokuto's possession. Star Element and Tao Xingyang worked together to open the heavenly pool. They even threw the badly mutilated Su Yen into the heavenly pool. As soon as Su Yan's body entered the heavenly pool, the extremely pure energy in the pool surged towards Su Yan's body. The vitality contained within was too vigorous. As the divine power penetrated Su Yan's body, it began to glow. The bloodstains on his body were peeling off layer by layer, but the exposed remnants of his body made their hearts tremble. That was because Su Yan's injuries were too severe. His flesh was rotten, and it was almost impossible to put it back together. The bones in his body were all broken, and there was not a single place that was intact. With such a serious injury, Star Element roared in anger. Could Su Yen still survive? Many senior elders felt that the chances were slim. They all sighed. If such a young supreme being fell under the heavenly tribulation, it would truly be too regretful. No matter what, they wanted to try. The heavenly lake was one of the strongest resources in Hokuto, and the energy within it was limited. They hoped that under the cleansing of the massive amount of energy, Su Yen would be able to recover some of his life force and survive the calamity. The whole of Hokuto was quiet. Most of the disciples did not even have the right to go near the heavenly lake. Star Element and Tao Xingyang widened their eyes and watched anxiously. Although the massive amount of divine power was continuously cleansing Su Yan's body, they gradually realized that Su Yan's body was no longer absorbing energy. It was like an empty shell. There was no essence, breath, or spirit. How could this be? How could this be? Star Element roared in anger. His eyes were red. He felt very helpless. The main reason was that Su Yen did not have any consciousness response. Could he really have been killed? Did his consciousness no longer exist? If that was the case, then even the divine medicine would be useless. Don't panic. Let's wait a little longer. Tao Xingyang could still remain calm. He did not believe that the Big Dipper supremacy of this generation in the Big Dipper constellation would fall under the heavenly tribulation until the very end. I say, Old Yang, can't you see that Su Yen is dead? His body is empty and can no longer absorb energy. An old antique in a red robe walked over. He had lived for a long time. Although the chi and blood in his body were old, he looked more powerful than before. He frowned and said unhappily, "The heavenly lake is our sect's most powerful resource. It should not be wasted on a dead person." Wasted? Tao Xingyang's eyes were filled with anger. He looked at the old man in red robes and said angrily, "Is our sect's most outstanding disciple not worth saving? Yes, we should save him. But the price?" The old man in red robes frowned even more. He was the old hall master of the Mizar Hall. He had a high reputation in Hokuto. When he was young, he was a prominent figure in Hokuto. He knew how powerful the heavenly lake was because he had been there before. "Don't worry. I will explain it to Master. You don't have to worry about it," Tao Xingyang replied angrily. His words made the old Mizar Hall master's face turn ugly. He was using the old Star Lord to pressure him. Who didn't know that he was the old Star Lord's disciple? Even if he is saved, his future achievements will be limited. It is not worth it. Another old antique in white robes walked out. He looked at Su Yan with an unfriendly gaze. He was the old hall master of the Arcade Hall. The great son of the Arcade Hall was killed by Su Yan. This matter made him very angry. He naturally hated Su Yan. His words were also very unpleasant. "Damn, this group of old things." That year, the great son of the Arcade Hall tried to kill eldest senior brother several times. Eldest senior brother killed him instead. Xiao Wen and the others were very angry. They were very clear about Su Yan's contributions to Hokuto. They didn't mention these things at all. Now that Su Yan was using the heavenly lake to recover, they jumped out to criticize him. It was obvious that they didn't want Su Yan to harm their interests. However, there were still many experts who supported Su Yan. They all stood guard near the heavenly lake, sternly warning them that Su Yan must be saved. At the very least, they had to try to save him. The old Arcade Hall master and the others were also helpless. They worked together to protect Su Yan. It was impossible for them to interfere with Su Yan's use of the heavenly lake. The atmosphere in Hokuto was very oppressive. Meanwhile, outside of Hokuto, various forces were discussing spiritedly. They all wanted to know who the person undergoing the tribulation was. There were even cultivators from other regions who came frequently. They took out greeting cards and wanted to pay a visit. However, Hokuto had directly announced that they would not receive any visitors. They couldn't figure out who the person undergoing the tribulation was. Su Yan's broken body was still submerged in the heavenly lake, receiving the nourishment of the heavenly lake's life force to ensure that Su Yan's body maintained its vitality. Once his body withered, even if Su Yan woke up, it would be difficult for him to survive. That's enough. It's been 3 days. The old Arcade Hall master and the others couldn't stand it anymore. They even brought Ingjie over and scolded. It's been 3 days and 3 nights. The heavenly lake's energy has been depleted by more than half. Our sect has treated Su Yan well enough. It's stupid to continue like this. That's right. The energy in the heavenly lake is enough to increase the combat power of the Arcade Hall master and the others. It shouldn't be wasted by Su Yan like this. He's already a dead man. It's not worth it to do this. You're harming the collective interests of Hokuto. Why should Su Yan, a dead man, enjoy such treatment? The resources in the heavenly lake are limited resources in Hokuto. Every bit used is a little less. Su Yan is just an outsider. It's not worth it for you to do this. The old Arcade Hall master and the others' words were filled with dissatisfaction. Their voices were very loud. They were trying to mislead the disciples. They wanted more disciples to know the importance of the heavenly lake. If this continued, the heavenly lake would definitely be depleted. Tao Xingyang and the others' faces were gloomy. 3 days had passed, and Su Yan still showed no signs of waking up. To be honest, they were about to give up. 3 days had passed. Was Su Yan's death already a foregone conclusion? Still not giving up? The old Arcade Hall master was about to lose his patience. He sneered. Is it worth it to save a dead man? Old fart, who are you talking about? Suddenly, a voice was heard. Although it sounded very weak, it was like a clap of thunder, exploding here. Star Element and the others were stunned. This voice sounded very familiar. Su Yan. Tao Xingyang trembled violently. The experts guarding the heavenly lake were all excited. Their hands were trembling slightly. Could it be that Su Yan had survived? Its eldest senior brother. It must be eldest senior brother. Eldest senior brother is still alive. A young disciple roared. This voice should be Su Yan's. What? This kid is still alive? The old Arcade Hall master and the others' faces changed drastically. Su Yan had survived? How could this be? 3 days and 3 nights had passed. How could he still be alive? Then, they saw the blood-stained body floating on the heavenly lake. Although it was emitting a tragic aura, his body trembled slightly, and his eyes suddenly opened. He's alive. The entire Hokuto was in an uproar. Many elders were laughing excitedly. Su Yan had come back to life. His eyes had even opened. Ha ha ha, I knew eldest senior brother wouldn't die so easily. It's just a heavenly tribulation. It can't do anything to Su Yan. Many disciples shouted excitedly. They were so excited that they couldn't speak coherently. They couldn't wait to run into the heavenly lake and give Su Yan a hug. That's right. Xiao Wen and the others laughed. They looked at Su Yan. Su Yan on the Big Dipper star, the overbearing Su Yan on the Divine Mountain Range, and the Su Yan who fought with Shuiguan. These shadows were like immortal imprints that would stay forever in their hearts. That was the symbol of invincibility in their hearts. How could an immortal monument collapse so easily? The Arcade Palace Master's expression was very ugly. The fall of the Arcade Palace Master was like a thorn in his heart that he couldn't pull out. However, the main culprit, Su Yan, had come back to life. This made the Arcade Palace Master so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. In fact, ever since Su Yan had fallen into a deep slumber until now, he still had his spiritual will. However, Su Yan didn't dare to wake up. He was worried that once his life force burned, it would attract the attention of the heavenly tribulation again. Therefore, Su Yan had been in a deep slumber. However, now, he couldn't take it anymore. The injuries to his body were too severe. If he couldn't solve the problem in time, his foundation would be completely damaged. Su Yan violently coughed up a mouthful of blood. He was in great pain. His body was filled with excruciating pain. This feeling was like being smashed by a mountain, being hit by a star, being slashed by a killing sword, being burned by a raging fire. The excruciating pain that tore at his mind attacked Su Yan. It made Su Yan feel so much pain that he wanted to die. He would rather commit suicide than endure this pain. Su Yan. Star Element and the others' expressions changed. They saw that Su Yan's situation was even worse. His broken body was on the verge of shattering. Even his flesh and blood were falling off piece by piece. His injuries were too severe. Even the energy of the heavenly lake was of limited help to Su Yan. If I die, you guys can just bury me. Su Yan let out a miserable laugh. He didn't know if he could stand up again. He didn't want to bring disaster to Bamboo Moon, the old Star Master, or even Hokuto. Don't talk nonsense. You can definitely stand up. Tao Xingyang's eyes turned red. He roared, "Get the life-saving medicine immediately. You must protect Su Yan. There is a great chance now. Su Yan, you must not give up." Su Yan, are you really unable to hold on? Chapter 610. I think you're getting more and more out of hand. Star Element was enraged. His entire body was suffused with golden divine light. He was like a war lion awakening. His blood energy was vigorous and roaring. Star Element's pupils were filled with chaotic energy. He had already become a deity and his battle prowess was astonishing. After all, Star Element was much younger now. He was definitely not a match for those old monsters who had been sitting for thousands of years. The mountains shook and the earth shook. Star Element's treasured body emitted a dazzling divine light. There was a faint sign that he was going to fight. What does Star Element have to do with you? The old Arcade Palace master was not afraid at all. He smiled sinisterly. I'm talking to Su Yen. Why are you interrupting? Moreover, Hokuto has helped Su Yen so much. Shouldn't you show some appreciation? After all, it would be a waste if all the things you've learned were buried with you. Many elders fell silent. They thought about it carefully and found it to be true. Su Yen was able to have his current achievements because of the scriptures he cultivated and the divine abilities he grasped. They were all top-notch secret technique. If he could control this batch of treasures, it would be of great help to Hokuto. Su Yen coldly looked at the old Arcade Palace master. He closed his eyes. His broken body had absorbed the life essence in the heavenly lake. Now that his body was withered, he needed a long time to recuperate. He might not even be able to recover. The problem was bad. Su Yen was thinking of a countermeasure to avoid this calamity. I really didn't expect that Su Yen wouldn't even say a word when things have reached this stage. The old Mizar Palace master shook his head and said disappointedly, My Big Dipper sect has declined and we really need some legacy. In the past, the hope of my sect's younger generation rising up was on Su Yen. But now you are struggling at death's door and only have a single breath left. Although it would make you feel wrong to leave behind your legacy and treasures, I really didn't expect him to not say a word. You really don't deserve to be called eldest senior brother. They felt that Su Yen could no longer hold on. Even if he woke up with such serious injuries, it was impossible for him to get up in a short period of time. You guys have gone too far. Tao Xingyang turned his head abruptly and glared at them. Let's not talk about whether Su Yen needs to leave anything for Hokuto. Based on Su Yan's current situation, do you think you can write anything? I think you guys want to force him to his death. How preposterous. What good can this do for you? Tao Xingyang, you're wrong. The old Arcade Palace master said angrily. You have also seen Su Yan's current situation. The chances of him recovering are extremely slim. If we don't seize the time now, there won't be any hope in the future. Star Element, what are you doing? The old Mizar Hall master fiercely pointed at Star Element. When he realized that Star Element had taken out a jar of starry sky heavenly liquid, he angrily rebuked. He is not worth saving, yet you are taking out my sect's resources to help Su Yen? Have you lost your mind? This belongs to me. Do you think I can use it however I want? What does it have to do with you? Star Element coldly replied. He opened the jar and a silver liquid flowed out. It was like a small galaxy flowing down, brilliant and dazzling. This was the precious liquid of life collected from the starry sky. It could be considered a kind of holy medicine for healing injuries. It would definitely be useful for Su Yan's injuries. Damn it. The old Mizar Hall master and the others had ugly expressions. Star Element and the others were determined to help Su Yen, so they couldn't force their way in. After all, Su Yan's prestige in Hokuto was very high, especially among the younger generation. Buzz. The jar of starry sky heavenly liquid was sprinkled on Su Yan's broken body. It was like sweet dew from the heavens. Su Yan's broken body glowed, and the withered life force inside started to faintly surge. This was a sign that he was beginning to recover. This was the scene of surviving a calamity. This made Tao Xingyang extremely surprised. As expected, the holy medicine was very helpful to Su Yen. As long as Su Yen could recover from some of his injuries, he would only need to recuperate and he would be able to get back on his feet again. Just as Su Yan's qi and blood were regenerated and his life force was reignited. His body was filled with the aura of myriad tribulations. This was the scar caused by the heavenly tribulation on Su Yan. It was as if the killing intent of the myriad tribulations had existed in his body for a long time. This was just like when Su Yan's body was damaged when he was young. Su Yan coughed up blood. The life force that had just been ignited in his body was extinguished. The myriad tribulations had caused him too much damage. Su Yan's body trembled violently as if his life force was about to be scattered. Not good. Star Element and the others turned pale with fright. How could this be? There was clearly hope of recovery earlier, and Su Yan had also survived. How could Su Yan's injuries continue to worsen? They even felt that the life force in Su Yan's body was declining continuously, as if it was about to fall back to its starting point. Haha, a jar of starry sky heavenly liquid has been wasted for nothing. The old Arcade Hall master sneered. This thing can create a genius and improve their body. It's wasted on a cripple. Bastard. Feng Xiaomu and the others wanted to kick the old Arcade Hall master to death. If it were Su Yan in his glory days, he wouldn't even dare to fart. However, Su Yan was now in trouble. He didn't think that Su Yan would be able to get back on his feet. There's still hope. Following which, with the help of many doyens, Su Yan's life essence was preserved and hadn't been completely extinguished. This meant that Su Yan could still be saved. A doyen proficient in medicine said that Su Yan had been injured by the heavenly tribulation and had to recover in a short period of time. Otherwise, there would be serious problems in the future. Su Yan, on the other hand, was silent. To be precise, he was silent in the boundless myriad tribulations. As long as he comprehended the myriad tribulations, he would be able to solve the problem of his body. He felt that this wasn't difficult at all. What he needed to solve now was his dying body. Su Yan first thought of the yin-yang fish. He had an impulse to capture the Fish King. However, his thoughts flickered. There were too many eyes here. Once the matter of the yin-yang Fish King was exposed, the Mizar Hall Master and the others would definitely interfere. In that case, he could only wait for the old Star Lord or Bamboo Moon to come out of seclusion before he could take action. Su Yan had seen their faces clearly just now. No matter what they said, he couldn't act blindly without thinking. You're wasting my sex resources. The Mizar Hall Master and the others were furious. They pointed at Xing Jingfu and the others. These disciples had taken out many precious resources and placed them in the heavenly lake. There were even many healing items that were directly sprinkled on Su Yan's broken body. These are the mountains and rivers that eldest senior brother fought for in the immortal spiritual mountain range. We've gained a lot from them, Xiaowen replied with a sneer. We've even taken out more and sent it to the treasury. The effects we've produced aren't any less than yours. We've used our contribution points to exchange for these. We didn't use your resources. The younger generation acted on their own initiative and exchanged for all kinds of precious items. This also caused the heavenly lake's energy to become even more vigorous. Su Yan's broken body floated in the lake, receiving the nourishment of a huge amount of divine liquid. This could preserve the vitality of the human body and even strengthen the vitality of the body. Many doyens were very gratified. Hokuto's younger generation could be so united. There was hope for them to rise up in the future. The number of great Dao realm cultivators among the younger generation continued to increase, far exceeding their expectations. I have a sacred medicine fruit here. Another disciple with a powerful aura walked over and took out a green treasured fruit. The fruit contained a vast amount of life essence, and its medicinal effects were vigorous and surging like tides. In fact, the air currents it emitted were especially cool. This was indeed a healing sacred fruit. Under the expectant gazes of Star Element and the others, the disciple held the sacred fruit and walked over, wanting to dissolve it and flow into Su Yan's body. Su Yan's broken body trembled violently. A sense of danger assaulted him, causing his scalp to turn numb. His eyes instantly widened in anger, and he let out a low roar like a wild beast. He was really furious. This was because this disciple had raised his palm and fiercely chopped down on Su Yan's head, wanting to kill him. Stop! Star Element and the others were so angry that their eyes were about to pop out. There was a disciple who brazenly made a move, wanting to kill Su Yan directly. Su Yan, it's time for you to go on your way. You shouldn't continue living. Your legend has already come to an end. This disciple's face was so malevolent that it was distorted. It was clear that he was a chosen death warrior. He wasn't prepared to live on and wanted to kill Su Yan ruthlessly. Scram! All of a sudden, Su Yan, whose aura had declined to the extreme, burned fiercely. Even though he was injured to this extent, he wasn't someone who could be humiliated by anyone. His broken body emitted a terrifying ominous light, filled with an ominous aura. Pung! This disciple's palm had just struck towards Su Yan when it directly exploded. Half of his body was almost destroyed. What? The faces of the old Mizar Palace master and the others turned pale. How could this be? Su Yan was already injured to this extent, so how could he continue to erupt with such combat strength? Tao Xingyang and the others rushed forward in unison, but the old Arcade Hall master was even faster. He had already rushed here and shattered the disciple's skull with his palm. He angrily rebuked, "You've got guts. You even dare to kill such a meritorious subject like Su Yan. Don't you know that Su Yan still has to engrave a great divine ability for our race? How could you be so ruthless? Who told you to kill him? Tell me, was it you who told him to go over?" Tao Xingyang's eyes widened in anger. He decisively brought out a battle spear and pointed it at the old Arcade Hall master. "What does this have to do with me? If I hadn't acted in time just now, Su Yan would still be alive," the old Arcade Hall master argued. His voice was so loud that it shook the heavens and earth. Su Yan's broken body trembled violently and was about to collapse. This was a deity harboring evil intentions. He wanted to kill Su Yan with a roar. "You shut up!" Tao Xingyang was enraged. He brandished his battle spear and hacked at the old Arcade Hall master. His other hand rose up to cover Su Yan's broken body. Su Yan's situation worsened once again. He coughed up large mouthfuls of blood, and his blood-stained hair was disheveled. He was incomparably indignant. This was truly a case of a tiger being bullied by a dog. His injuries were even worse. His body continued to shatter and was about to completely rot away. The elders in the surroundings turned pale. Why did they feel that Su Yan was about to pass away? Eldest senior brother Xiaowen and the others couldn't hold back and rushed over. They let out roars and wanted nothing more than to swallow the old Arcade Hall master whole. The entire scene was in chaos as killing intent spread out in all directions. Star Element and the others were extremely angry and even on high alert. Someone was secretly making a move to eliminate Su Yan. Look! Suddenly, someone saw an adorable and beautiful little girl appear in the heavenly lake. The little girl's appearance was extremely sudden. As she saw Su Yan's broken body, the Big Dipper Divine Medicine's eyes turned red. Drops of tears rolled down her cheeks. She was crying loudly. It sounded extremely sad and sorrowful. As her tears fell onto Su Yan's broken body, they sprang up like bamboo shoots after a rain. Su Yan's body that had declined to the extreme suddenly blazed up. It was as if he had eaten a great tonic. His broken body was reconstructed and the withered blood energy in his body became a bit stronger. What? Star Element and the others were scared out of their wits. What was this? The tears that flowed out were comparable to divine medicines. This was too frightening. It's a divine medicine. This is a supreme good fortune. Chapter 6:11. Star Element and the others were stunned. Suddenly, a little girl appeared. She was beautiful, and her body was covered in holy light. It could be said that she was pure and flawless. She suddenly appeared in front of Su Yen without them noticing. It had to be said that this little girl was a little scary and strange. In fact, when Su Yen came to the heavenly lake to recover, the Big Dipper godly medicine had already noticed him. But there were too many people here, and the Big Dipper godly medicine was frightened and didn't dare to come out. But now, Su Yan's injuries continued to worsen. He was about to die and disappear from the world. The Big Dipper godly medicine finally came out crying. Its two little hands shook Su Yen. It was very sad and sad. She was crying. Drop after drop of crystal-clear tears rolled down Su Yan's broken body. 1. Su Yan's broken body burned. That was the essence of the Big Dipper godly medicine. Even the tears that came out were the essence. How could a healing saint medicine be compared to an origin divine medicine? Moreover, it was an origin divine medicine. Every drop of tears contained the essence of the Big Dipper godly medicine. It was enough to regenerate flesh and bones. It could pull a dying person back from the gates of death. The fatal wounds on Su Yan's body were healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The flame of life inside his body, which had declined to the extreme and was about to be extinguished, suddenly became vigorous again. The essence of the Big Dipper godly medicine shocked the world. It made Su Yan's broken bones glow and heat, and they showed signs of healing. One could imagine how shocking the medicinal properties of the Big Dipper godly medicine's tears were. Tao Xingyang and the others were stunned. This was without a doubt a Big Dipper godly medicine. Moreover, it was a Big Dipper godly medicine that had already transformed. They couldn't react for a moment. In fact, the number of experts in Hokuto who knew about the Big Dipper godly medicine could be counted on one hand. Don't be afraid, Su Yen said weakly. He opened his eyes with a smile on his face. Looking at the crying Big Dipper divine medicine, he felt very warm. He even wanted to reach out his hand and touch the little guy's head. However, Su Yan's strength was too weak. His injuries were still serious, and it was difficult for him to move. When the Big Dipper godly herb saw Su Yan's powerful life force and the healing of his wounds, she was stunned. She pursed her lips and prepared to spit out a mouthful of origin energy to prolong Su Yan's life. The life chi of a divine herb was too precious. It would cause serious damage to the divine herb. Back then, Su Yen didn't obtain her life chi, but a strand of source energy. However, life chi was equivalent to a part of the divine herb. No! The eyes of Alcade Palace Master and the others were red to the point where they were turning purple. They had already rushed over, incomparably close to the divine medicine. Their hearts were full of fanaticism and excitement. As long as they could capture the divine medicine alive, they would be able to swallow it. He might even become a divine king. This was such a terrifying opportunity. How could they give it up so easily? Divine medicine, ha ha, this is a stalk of divine medicine. Star Element and the others' eyes were about to split open as they roared. In fact, the moment the Big Dipper godly herb appeared, they were already thinking that this was Hokuto's divine medicine. They definitely couldn't let it be destroyed or scared away. Meanwhile, Alcade Palace Master and the others were almost at the end of their lifespans. The divine medicine was a fatal temptation to them. They would definitely pay any price to obtain the divine medicine. This was a supreme treasure that could prolong their lives. How could they not go crazy? These bastards are rotten to the core. When I get up, I'll kill all of you. Su Yen was incomparably furious. However, it was difficult for them to get up. Several experts rushed over, emitting powerful auras. The Big Dipper godly herb was so frightened that it turned pale. It looked pitiful and helpless, and its brain seemed to have short-circuited. However, the moment they touched the Big Dipper godly herb, the Big Dipper's origin energy awakened on its own and helped the Big Dipper godly herb resist. Could it be the origin divine medicine? Star Element and the others turned pale with fright. They hurriedly shouted, "Stop! You've frightened the divine medicine. Don't even think about living." "I don't think so," Perhaps it's a demonic transformation with the intention of harming our sex. Su Yen. Alcade Palace Master and the others wouldn't give up so easily. They all roared loudly and shook off the Big Dipper's origin energy. They all reached out to grab the Big Dipper godly herb. Even if they couldn't obtain the whole thing, obtaining an arm or a calf would be a great fortune. Buzz. However, they had underestimated the Big Dipper godly herb. Although it was weak, its speed was especially fast. It could almost teleport within the Big Dipper starfield and disappear with a flash of lightning. Where do you think you're going? They unleashed their strongest battle strength and opened up layers of space as they chased after the Big Dipper godly herb. Star Element and the others also rushed over to stop the group of crazy elders. Their lifespans were almost at the end of their lifespans. There was no treasure more tempting than the divine medicine. The appearance of the divine medicine threw Hokuto into chaos. Not good. At this moment, Xing Jingfu's petite body emitted an overflowing starlight. Under the illumination of her eyes, a shadow was rapidly approaching Su Yen. Su Yen, the Alcade Palace Master died in your hands. I wonder how you feel now that you've died in my hands. Hee, unfortunately, you don't even have time to think. This old man will take your life now. The Alcade Palace Master's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was cold as he rapidly approached Su Yen. He wanted to behead Su Yen. Old thing, you're crazy. Xiao Wen and the others madly rushed over. The dozen young disciples were very fast. They were originally very close to the heavenly lake, so their speed was naturally very fast. They formed a defensive line to stop the Alcade Palace Master. A group of juniors dare to block my path? Scram! The Alcade Palace Master was very disdainful. He was an old god. When the aura in his body was released, the entire area became gloomy. All kinds of divine aura rippled out, as if 100,000 mountains were arranged here. An incomparably powerful aura rushed forward. The dozen young disciples trembled violently, and many of them were directly sent flying. They coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, and their bodies were about to shatter. They were aghast. The divine spirit was too frightening, especially when the Alcade Palace Master's combat strength was at the peak. Although Xing Jingfu and the others were barely able to resist, their bodies staggered as they retreated. You still dare to block my path here. Reckless fool, you have to respect your elders. The Alcade Palace Master's eyes were filled with killing intent. Layers of vast aura were released from his body. The divine light was like a rolling tsunami, causing Xing Jingfu and the others to tremble. One by one, they fell to the ground uncontrollably. You really want to rebel? You're all crazy. Star Element rushed back. The divine light in his body burst out as if a huge star was rushing over from afar. However, the Alcade Palace Master's speed was even faster. He was already closing in on Su Yen. He raised his palm and attacked toward Su Yan's head. Don't. Have mercy. Cries of surprise came from all directions. Su Yan's injuries were too severe. He couldn't withstand the power of a divine spirit. Even if it was a slight collision, Su Yan's injuries would worsen again with his current condition. He couldn't afford such torment. Do you really think you can take me down? Su Yen looked at the Alcade Palace Master with cold eyes. He said coldly, I can even kill the son of an almighty without hesitation. You're just a divine spirit with a withered lifespan. How dare you make a move on me? You're just a cripple who is about to die. How dare you speak rudely to me? I'll kill you, you evil creature. The Alcade Palace Master was enraged. His killing intent filled the void. Although his blood vitality was declining and his combat strength was no longer comparable to when he was young, he was still terrifying when he went berserk. He shattered the void as a sea of killing intent surged forth. But when this strength approached Su Yen, an extremely heavy strength appeared between the heavens and earth, blocking the Alcade Palace Master's advance. Su Yen seemed to have disappeared. It was like he was sitting in another universe, looking down at the Alcade Palace Master. Even though he was a divine spirit, Su Yen was still looking down on him from high above in the Big Dipper star region. Now, he was looking down on his own people. This gaze, this attitude, this caused the Alcade Palace Master to go mad with anger. No matter what, Su Yen was still a junior. He didn't have the qualifications to confront a divine spirit of the older generation. This was especially true when Su Yen was severely injured and was looking down on him with contempt. You are really courting death. I originally wanted to leave you with an intact corpse, but there is no need for that now. You even dare to provoke a divine spirit. Do you think you have 3 lives? You are just a cripple. The Alcade Palace Master roared out again and again. His roars caused the world to tremble and the void to shatter. Especially the area in front of him that was suppressed. Layer after layer collapsed as all sorts of terrifying light beams shot towards Su Yen. The Alcade Palace Master used his full strength. He wanted to kill Su Yen. In any case, his lifespan was limited. He felt that if he didn't kill Su Yen would definitely target the Alcade Palace Master in the future. Even if he killed Su Yen, the Alcade Palace Master wouldn't necessarily die. Bang! It was as if the heavens and earth were being split apart. The energy ripples overflowed in all directions. As everything rushed towards Su Yen, the Alcade Palace Master continued to descend. Wave after wave of energy came crashing down from the heavens, as if the Milky Way was crashing down from the highest heavens. This supreme world source aura was like the awakening of a slumbering god. Bang! Within Su Yan's ruined body, a terrifying imprint appeared. It was like the condensed Big Dipper star domain had been branded between his eyebrows. What was this? This was the Big Dipper Supreme imprint. As it illuminated the entire Hokuto, all of the universe's origin energy gathered together, forming an unparalleled source of energy that could suppress any life form. Bang! Under the dazed gazes of everyone, the star domain's origin energy turned into a giant palm that blotted out the skies. It came crashing down from the heavens, ruthlessly suppressing the Alcade Palace Master. Ah! The Alcade Palace Master let out a miserable cry. His old body showed signs of collapsing. This was the Big Dipper's origin energy. It rumbled endlessly as it came crashing down, turning into a giant hand that struck him until he howled in grief. You still want to kill me? I'll kill you. Su Yan's giant hand rose up. It was as if the heavenly winds were dancing and the stars in the sky were being pushed aside. A giant slap came crashing down, causing the Alcade Palace Master's face to collapse. He spat out 7 or 8 teeth, and cracks appeared on his skull. Wah! Chapter 6:12. The void was dyed with blood, and mournful screams reverberated between heaven and earth. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the surroundings, the Alcade Palace Master, who had been mocking and ridiculing Su Yen and calling him a cripple, an old monster who had lived for 7,000 to 8,000 years and an old god whose lifespan was about to dry up, was slapped repeatedly. Now, he was being slapped by Su Yen again and again until his face was unrecognizable. Blood flowed from his mouth and nose. His appearance was as miserable as it could be. He was like a ferocious ghost, howling and roaring malevolently. He was a god, and now that he was being slapped by Su Yen, one could imagine how humiliating and despairing it was. He wished he could just kill himself. He wasn't willing to bear the strange gazes of the surrounding people. Kill him! Xiaowen and the others were furious. The old god had attacked the heavily injured Su Yen. It was too much. That's the Big Dipper imprint. Even more experts were aghast. They saw the burning imprint between Su Yan's eyebrows. It was as resplendent as the condensed Big Dipper star field. It emitted all kinds of origin energy and contained great power. It represented Su Yan's current status. Supreme Big Dipper. Haha, I knew it was eldest senior brother. A disciple roared excitedly. He was the legitimate Supreme Big Dipper. Once he obtained this title, his status would be equal to that of a god. However, what made them turn pale with fright was that Su Yen could directly control the origin source energy. This was too frightening. Although it was said that star domain supremes were in an invincible position in their star domains, Su Yen was still able to control the origin source energy. But to use the Big Dipper imprint to suppress a god? This was a fool's dream. It was simply impossible. Many people had forgotten that Su Yen was also a 6th-grade expert. With his methods and the Big Dipper imprint, he could operate between heaven and earth. In other words, Su Yen could also control the origin energy that existed in the star field. This was a little frightening. Even a god was being suppressed by him, slapping him one after another. Arcade Palace Master was beaten until he howled miserably. He was as miserable as he could be. Su Yen had been suppressing the anger in his heart. Now, he couldn't help but let it out. He even dared to kill the son of a powerful being. Now that he was targeting a god, why wouldn't Su Yen do it? The moment he came up, he gave him a vicious beating. Su Yen was truly infuriated. Putting aside his past contributions to Hokuto, just the fact that he had obtained the Northern Dipper Supreme imprint had benefited the entire Northern Dipper constellation, causing Hokuto's origin energy to skyrocket. This was already a great contribution. However, the old Arcade Palace Master was a doyen of Hokuto, yet he still had the cheek to target the heavily injured Su Yen. This infuriated Su Yen to the extreme. He continued to deliver heavy blows, beating the old Arcade Palace Master to the point of despair. He even felt killing intent. No! The old Arcade Palace Master was somewhat terrified. Su Yen wanted to kill him and kill him. Are you regretting it now? Su Yen said coldly. Old thing, you've targeted me time and time again, and you even want to kill me. You're really shameless. A dignified god actually has the face to target a junior like me. I'll kill you right now. Boom. Su Yen's palm came chopping down at lightning speed. He had activated an even stronger origin energy, enough to kill the old Arcade Palace Master with a single slap. Humph, Junior, you're really audacious. You even dare to kill a god of Hokuto in Hokuto. Who gave you the guts? All of a sudden, a heavy pressure swept over, instantly covering the entire place. Even the great Tao realm experts felt like their guts were being torn apart. The group of doyens who were fighting over the divine medicine all stopped. They were all stunned by this might. In the sky, a figure became clearer and clearer, awakening along with endless chaos. His voice was so loud that it could split the sky. He was like a god of the heavens. His figure covered the sky and the sun, causing the starry sea of 100,000 li to tremble. Heavenly deity. The faces of Star Element and the others turned pale. This was a heavenly deity. Deities were different from heavenly deities. Heavenly deities could initially develop a domain. In this domain, heavenly deities could be said to be the rulers. The origin energy of the star region that Su Yen had activated was completely suppressed by the heavenly deity's aura. He was too powerful and terrifying. He had the sky above his head, looking down on the world. He was as terrifying as a starry sky heavenly dragon. The great Tao realm cultivators all trembled. This was a heavenly deity who could easily incinerate mountains and boil seas. He could establish a domain world and suppress kings. Of course, this was also a powerhouse that was ridiculously old. He was so thin that he was nothing more than skin and bones, but he still involuntarily exuded an aura that suppressed the entire universe. The world he resided in was dim and lightless, but this person was the only one that existed eternally. If one observed carefully, they could see that the starry sky in the outer realm was moving along with him. One could imagine how powerful heavenly deities were. They could control the power of heaven and earth, develop chaos, and suppress all living things. Elder Han, please uphold justice for me. The old Arcade Palace Master acted as if he had seen his own father. His hair was disheveled, and his body was covered in blood. He cried out miserably, "Uphold justice for me, Elder Han?" Su Yan's expression changed drastically. Xing Jingfu even instantly transmitted a message to Su Yan. He was the most ancient person of Han Jin's lineage. He was even an expert of the same generation as the old Star Lord, Han Jin Yuan. Han Jin was killed by Su Yan. Back then, he was killed by him in Alcade City. How could he forget that matter? In Hokuto, the Xing family and the Han family were the strongest. The old Star Lord was the most ancient person of the Xing family. Han Jin Yuan wasn't weak either. He was a heavenly deity, but he had always been suppressed by the old Star Lord. Tao Xingyang's expression changed slightly. He walked up and shouted, "Elder Han, he was the one who attacked first. He wanted to kill the eldest senior brother of my sect's disciple. He has committed a heinous crime." "Shut up." Han Jinyuan's expression was cold. When a heavenly deity was angered, the sun and moon would lose their light, and the mountains and rivers would lose their color. An ocean-like killing intent came crashing down, causing the entire world to tremble. It was filled with all sorts of austere auras, causing all the disciples to feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. A heavenly deity was too strong. When he was angered, he could kill millions of people. This was an expert who was second only to the divine king. Han Jinyuan's cold eyes stared at Su Yan. "So you are Su Yan, the great son of Alcade. The eldest senior brother of my sect and many other disciples were killed by you. Are you going to settle the score after the autumn?" Xing Jingfu's expression was ugly. She tried to contact Bamboo Moon, but she realized that there was no response from Bamboo Moon. Bamboo Moon was now breaking through to the heavenly deity realm. It was impossible to wake her up. "That's because..." Star Element walked up, wanting to explain. He even wanted to stall for time. "I didn't ask you." Han Jinyuan's cold eyes looked at Star Element. How strong was he? The anger of a heavenly deity could burn mountains and boil seas. The entire world revolved around him. Han Jinyuan could even control all the killing formations in Hokuto. No one could stop him. Time and time again, Su Yan was about to reply, but Han Jinyuan was very aggressive. He shouted, "What nonsense are you talking about? I'm asking you if you killed them." "I killed them." Su Yan was also angry. Han Jinyuan must be looking for trouble. He needed an excuse. "Okay, it's good that you admit it." Han Jinyuan said coldly, "How dare you? I don't care how strong your potential is or how much you've contributed to the Big Dipper sect. If you dare to kill a single person from the Big Dipper sect, you're my Big Dipper sect's enemy." "Ah." Su Yan looked up and laughed angrily. "You really talk big." Back then, at the Immortal Mountain, the Ancestral Hall and the Dark Underworld tribe killed so many people from Hokuto. Why don't you go and avenge your dead disciples? Su Yan's words ignited the anger of many young people. Back then, they had almost been completely annihilated. It was Su Yan who had stood up and blocked the calamity for them. Even after that, Su Yan had dug out so many treasures in the forbidden area and handed them over. However, Han Jinyuan stood up and made it clear that he wanted to make things difficult for Su Yan. He must be targeting him. "You're right, but all of this started because of you." Han Jinyuan pointed at him and sneered. "You're just an evil creature from the burial realm. Although I don't know how you got into Hokuto, you shouldn't be here." "Bastard." Su Yan's eyes burned with anger. He growled, "What do you want? Just say it. Let him go and get out of here." Han Jinyuan's words made Star Element and the others furious. Asking Su Yan to leave was the same as asking him to die. Even if the others did not interfere, the Alcade Hall Master would be the first to kill Su Yan. "Vile spawn, let me go or you'll die in my grave." The Alcade Hall Master laughed angrily. "Hurry up. Don't waste time. You are a smart person. You should know the consequences." "Ah." In the next moment, a miserable wail reverberated in this area. The body of the old palace master of Alcade Hall was blasted apart by Su Yan's slap. Blood flowed all over the ground. The ground was filled with shattered bones and flesh. The surrounding people were stunned. It was as if they were really seeing the all-powerful madman Su in the immortal mountain. He even dared to kill the son of a mighty figure. Now, he even dared to kill the Alcade Hall master in front of a heavenly god. The atmosphere was extremely cold. Anyone could feel the wrath of a heavenly god. Han Jinyuan's aged body was filled with cold anger and killing intent. He laughed, revealing a mouth full of white teeth. He said coldly, "The younger generation will surpass us in time. You even dare to kill in front of me. I have changed my mind. Now, inform the Ancestral Hall and let them take him away." Hokuto was instantly thrown into chaos. Letting the Ancestral Hall take him away was equivalent to sending Su Yan to a dead end. "Why are you only saying what you are thinking now?" Su Yan sneered. "For your own selfish desires, how are you different from that old thing Han Jin? He deserves to be killed. You should atone for your sins with your death. Humph, you really won't shed tears until you see the coffin. I will suppress you now." Han Jinyuan's aged palm came crashing down. His eyes were emitting flames of fury. He wanted to suppress Su Yan and torture him for a period of time before handing him to the Ancestral Hall. "Who dares to hurt my brother?" Suddenly, shadows with powerful auras rushed over from afar. Their speed was too fast. With Shaowen leading the way, they rushed all the way here. Originally, Han Jinyuan was stunned. When he saw that it was a group of juniors, he laughed angrily. "Looks like I have to catch all of you in one fell swoop. Who is so awesome?" Chapter 6:13. Everyone present was dumbfounded. All of them were flabbergasted. Many disciples scratched their heads in confusion. What was going on? After all, Yuan and the others had arrived too suddenly. The disciples who had trained in the divine spiritual mountains back then were especially excited. Whether it was Yuan or Tensor, they were all familiar with them. Back then, Su Yan had suffered a calamity in the Ancestral Hall's resource lands. That battle was unforgettable even to this day. That was a battle where 4 great experts joined forces to overturn the Ancestral Hall's resource lands. Corpses were strewn across hundreds of thousands of li. They fought until the heavens collapsed and the earth split open. All living creatures were terrified. They were all experts among the younger generation and were decisive in killing. There was no need to mention Tensor's first-generation supreme physique's combat strength. Although Yuan was a bit weaker than Tensor, the blood-colored spear Yuan was holding was suffused with all kinds of terrifying radiance. It was as though a slumbering divine king was awakening. This was a divine king weapon. Back then, it had almost killed Bamboo Moon. This treasure was now exuding the power it should have. Although it was a damaged divine king weapon, in Yuan's hands, it made him seem like a blood-colored demonic god. Of course, all of this was secondary. Tai Baokai ran over and said a few words that almost made the senior elders fall to the ground. They were all dumbfounded as they looked at Tai Baocai's fiendish appearance. This was too awesome. He had come up and threatened to make Han Jinyuan kneel and sing in submission. They couldn't help but shiver as they recalled the scene of Han Jinyuan kneeling and singing. A wisp of cold air swept over from Hokuto. There was a strange silence in the sky and on the ground. The cultivators gathered here were all breathing heavily. Many people felt stifled because Han Jinyuan's old face was so ugly that it was as if he had eaten a pile of shit. His expression was as ugly as it could be. What kind of situation was this? He, a dignified heavenly deity, was actually being humiliated by a junior. This was the first time Han Jinyuan, who had lived for so long, had encountered such an awesome creature. Boom! Strands of bone-chilling killing intent were released from Han Jinyuan's body. It was as if a purgatory had been born in this world. Some people could faintly hear the roars of gods and demons, sending out furious thoughts that wanted to tear apart the heavens and split the seas. The sky turned gloomy. After all, Han Jinyuan was a heavenly deity. His aura was extremely gloomy and terrifying. Tai Tai Baokai. Men, come, take this beast down and crush it. Han Jinyuan was so angry that he almost stomped his feet. Kneel down and swear allegiance. He felt that even if he killed Tai Baokai, there would be people who would talk about it after dinner for a period of time in the future. Flames of fury surged between heaven and earth, making the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains lose their color. The fury of a heavenly deity made the mountains and valleys rumble. In addition, the void shattered inch by inch, as if a sea was rapidly enlarging. They filled the entire ancient star sea. Don't be so reckless. Elder Han is clearly targeting eldest senior brother because of Han Jin's death. I think he's stalling for time. Many disciples were very anxious. They all knew Tai Baokai. They even knew how powerful he was. In fact, if it wasn't for Su Yan's ferocious power in the Immortal Mountain Range, Tai Baokai would also be a famous young expert in the universe. In those years, there were many rising experts in the Immortal Mountain Range. However, because of Su Yan's rise and the heaven-defying killing of 3 young giants, his current prestige was really terrifying. If it wasn't for the fact that he had been dormant for 2 years and the storm in the universe had decreased sharply, Madman Su would still be the best topic of conversation in the major star regions. Now, Tai Baokai had completely enraged Han Jinyuan. His desire to kill Su Yan was even stronger than his desire to kill him. You evil creature! If I don't peel off your skin and pull out your tendons, what will happen to the prestige of the Immortal Mountain Range? The Mizar Hall Master's eyes were extremely cold. The death of the Alcade Hall Master made him angry and fearful. He felt that Su Yan was too dangerous. He was now the Big Dipper sovereign and could control the universe's origin power. He could even suppress gods. The current Su Yan made him feel threatened. In the past, they had targeted Su Yan time and time again. Maybe Su Yan would target them when he became stronger in the future. Then, he might end up like the Alcade Hall Master. No matter what, they wanted to get rid of Su Yan or hand Su Yan over to the Ancestral Hall in exchange for the 3 Divine King weapons. Old bastard, you're just a lackey. How dare you speak rudely to this beast god? Tai Baocai's mouth was too venomous. He raised his big round head and spat out a mouthful of saliva. Do you know who this beast god is? I'll give you a chance to kneel down and break one of your arms. I'll let you die an easy death. Tensor shuddered. He felt that Tai Baokai was too dangerous. Once he had enough strength, he would definitely become a dangerous leader who would stir up trouble in the universe. You evil creature, you've angered this old man to death. Hand over your life. The Mizar Hall Master let out a furious roar and suddenly rushed forward. After all, he was a god. There was no need to talk about his combat strength. His old body was suffused with chaotic airflow. He was like a furious god erupting. The boundless killing intent was like a waterfall as it bombarded Tai Baokai. Su Yan's body tensed up. He was really worried that something would happen to Tai Baokai. However, since they dared to rush in now, they must have something to rely on. In fact, Tai Baokai and the others had already rushed to the Big Dipper during the changes in the Big Dipper star region. They had no choice but to stand out and see if they could intimidate Han Jinyuan. 1. When the power of the gods rushed towards Tai Baokai, what surprised the surrounding cultivators was that the space between Tai Baocai's brows shone resplendently. Immortal splendor shot out in all directions, followed by an exceptionally brilliant golden radiance. It was as if a giant beast was slumbering in his sea of consciousness. Boom! In an instant, the void collapsed. It was as if a peerless immortal sword was unsheathed. Demonic aura surged from Tai Baocai's forehead as a peerless great demon erupted. It was a golden hoof. The moment it struck out, It was as if an ancient star was crashing into it. This hoof was too frightening. It exploded the primal chaos, and the energy fluctuations it emitted caused the Mizar Hall Master to turn pale with fright. He felt as if his body would explode along with the hoof. Stop! Han Jinyuan's expression changed drastically. He stretched out his hand. The seemingly withered palm was, in fact, a gigantic palm that could blot out the sun. It contained the power of heaven and earth. This was the power of a heavenly god. It was absolutely terrifying. A light palm could pluck the stars and capture the moon. The combat strength of a heavenly god was too great. It immediately struck out and blocked the golden hoof. Old bastard, it's not your turn to swear allegiance yet. Allow this beast deity to suppress this old bastard first. Tai Baokai was arrogant and fearless. He was too confident, implying that he also had a backer. He madly charged forward. The demonic aura rising from between his brows became even denser and more terrifying. It was as if there was a small universe hidden within his sea of consciousness. When the bull's roar exploded, even the massive astral treasure began to tremble. The surrounding cultivators turned pale with fright. A large number of them staggered backwards. This wasn't aimed at them. Otherwise, rivers of blood would surely flow. The roar was too terrifying. It was as if 100,000 golden mountains were lined up together and smashed forward. It struck Han Jinyuan's withered palm until it spilled the blood of a heavenly god. Save me! The Mizar Palace Master was extremely anxious. He took out all kinds of secret treasures in succession to block the radiance gushing out from between Baotsai's brows. However, the bull's roar shook heaven and earth. It could be said to be the roar of the primordial bull demon king. The roar caused the secret treasures the Mizar Palace Master took out to explode. Even his body began to tremble and spit out blood. Pfft! The Mizar Palace Master screamed miserably as he was ruthlessly sent flying. The sound waves even surged into the sky and began to attack him. Bastard! Han Jinyuan was extremely angry. Just now, the Alcade Palace Master had been killed by Su Yan. If the Mizar Palace Master also died in front of him, then he would lose two great generals. His control over Hokuto would plummet. Han Jinyuan rushed over and took out a dazzling divine spear. This was a weapon refined by a heavenly god. It could be called a primal chaos divine weapon. A primal chaos divine weapon wielded by a heavenly god was extremely powerful. In fact, it wasn't inferior to the divine king's weapon. After all, its wielder was a heavenly god. The divine spear soared through the sky. It was as thick as a mountain and emitted an incomparably powerful aura. All kinds of primal chaos radiance lingered around it. Heavenly God! Su Yan clenched his fist. This heavenly god was too powerful. He was from man to heaven. One could well imagine how tyrannical this domain was. At present, the divine king was incomparably rare. Even among the peak races, he was an ancestor-level character. He was the stabilizing force of their race. And a heavenly god was definitely a pillar among pillars. A single person could support a great sect. Although Han Jinyuan's lifespan had been greatly reduced, he was truly going all out. That terrifying heavenly god aura destroyed the various lights emitted from between the Baotsai's brows. Kill! Han Jinyuan directly rushed over. He felt that there was a supreme treasure hidden between the Baotsai's brows. If he could obtain it, it would definitely be a great defensive killing weapon. Old bastard, you're in such a hurry to kneel down and swear allegiance? The Baokai said arrogantly, I'll fulfill your wish right now. You evil creature, I'll cut you down. The heavenly god roared angrily. His aura tore through the heavens like a great star from outer space, carried all kinds of world-destroying lights, and wanted to tear the Tai Baokai in two. You dare to speak rudely to this beast god. You've committed another crime. The Baotsai's arrogance soared into the sky like a flying black rabbit. It soared into the sky with panda eyes and lowered its large round head, as it let out a loud roar. Millions upon millions of layers of golden ripples gushed out from between its brows. The moment it poured out, its aura was similarly boundlessly terrifying. Boom! The primal chaos energy that filled the sky exploded. It seemed as if a divine king was hidden between the Baotsai's brows. Its aura was fairly terrifying. It caused Han Jinyuan to turn pale with fright. The divine spear in his hand was trembling incessantly. Even that unstoppable force attacked his body, causing him to spit out blood. What? The Mizar Palace Master and the others were truly frightened. The Baokai grasped the power to kill heavenly gods. No wonder he was so confident. Damn it, I'll annihilate all of you. Han Jinyuan's eyes were about to split open. He was so angry that his hair stood on end. He was a dignified heavenly god, but he actually suffered a great loss in front of a junior. How could he let it go so easily? Swoosh! The Baotsai's speed was extremely fast. It used ground shrink and crossed to Han Jinyuan's side. It raised its large round head and charged forward. It wanted to use the treasure hidden between its brows to get rid of Han Jinyuan. Dong! All of a sudden, ancient energy ripples appeared in the vast ancient star sea. Those were boundless silver ripples that surged out. At first, it looked very calm, but in an instant, it surged countless times more violently. It was like a vast ocean that traversed the 9 heavens. Chapter 6:14. Big Dipper Bell. Tao Xingyang's expression changed. This was one of the Big Dipper sect's sect-defining supreme treasures. The Big Dipper sect was noble as a pinnacle group of clans, so its foundation was definitely extremely shocking. In history, there had been many great experts that had left behind many sect-defining resources for the Big Dipper sect. But because of the sinking of the Big Dipper, Hokuto's resources were greatly damaged. But even so, many resources were preserved. This Big Dipper bell was one of them, and it was also Hokuto's famous most valuable treasure. It was rumored that the Big Dipper bell wasn't an almighty sacred weapon, but an origin treasure nurtured by the Big Dipper constellation. This origin treasure's power wasn't inferior to almighty sacred weapons. Moreover, the Big Dipper bell floated in the ancient star sea all year round, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon to nourish the bell. As time passed, the Big Dipper bell became more and more extraordinary. When it was awakened, the silver ripples were endless, and the sun, moon, and stars were engraved on the bell. When it was awakened, the sun, moon, and stars were awakened together. The scene was a little scary, as if they had returned to the era when the sky was created. The Big Dipper bell was terrifying beyond compare. With a slight tremble, the bell split the sky and earth. The silver bell spewed out all kinds of silver ripples and swooped down. During this process, the ripples became countless times more vast. Many disciples felt as if they had been struck by lightning. They were overwhelmed with shock, as if they would all be buried together with the silver ripples. Everyone could feel the world-destroying might emanating from the Big Dipper bell. Roar! Baokai let out a loud roar. His forehead was bright, and the golden ripples were rolling. Some people seemed to see a golden iron bull emerging from between Baotsai's eyebrows. The roar was loud enough to split mountains and seas. Su Yen suspected that Baokai had obtained the golden iron bull statue from Ox Village. The power of this secret treasure was too terrifying. The rolling golden waves burst out in a domineering manner, and the ancient star sea was dyed golden. Kill! Han Jinyuan was extremely jealous. He wanted to kill Tai Baokai and take away the mysterious treasure in his hands. The Big Dipper bell shone brightly like a giant bell that could swallow the sky. The bell contained an ancient sea of stars, and its aura was terrifying. No! Many disciples trembled in fear. They felt that once the Big Dipper bell erupted with its godly aura, they would all be annihilated in body and soul. After all, the situation was too sudden. The disciples simply didn't have time to retreat. Old fogey, if you want Hokuto and the other experts to die with you, then use the power of the Big Dipper bell, and see how many people will die." Baokai let out a furious roar. It had never expected that Han Jinyuan would disregard the consequences and activate the power of the Big Dipper Bell. If the Big Dipper Bell and the golden iron bull statue collided, regardless of who won, it would be a devastating blow to Hokuto. The two sources of energy collided above the ancient star sea. On one side, it was as if the Milky Way of the nine heavens had converged, transforming into a gigantic silver bell that suppressed the nine heavens. One side was like a surging golden wave, converging into a golden iron bull. Its figure filled the sky, ferocious and domineering. These two relatively heaven-defying auras were confronting each other across space. As they pressed against each other, they were about to unleash an extremely powerful massacre. Once such a massacre collided, the consequences would be severe. A large number of Great Tao Realm experts would die. This caused Star Element to involuntarily let out a low bellow. "Everyone, stop. If you have something to say, sit down and talk. If you continue fighting, the ones who will suffer will be our own people." "Haha, our own people?" Han Jinyuan stood in front of the Big Dipper Bell. His hair was disheveled, and his eyes were cold as he shouted, "Outsiders have barged into our sect. By right, we should kill them on the spot. Otherwise, the experts from the outside world would be able to barge in as they wish. Old Han, they are all important guests of Hokuto. They were personally nominated by the Star Lord," Xiaowun said loudly. "If you don't believe me, you can go and investigate." "Impudent! I'm trying to find out the truth. What nonsense are you, a junior, spouting?" A hint of cold electricity flashed in Han Jinyuan's eyes. His furious rebuke caused Xiaowun's countenance to change. Xiaowun spurted out a mouthful of blood, and his internal organs showed signs of being shaken apart. "Scoundrel! Old Han, you've gone overboard!" Xiao Yi was infuriated, and his eyes turned red. Xiaowun was now Hokuto's legacy disciple. How could he withstand Han Jinyuan's direct rebuke? "Haha, I've gone overboard? If I hadn't stood up in time, our sect would have definitely been annihilated because of the young Star Lord's stubbornness," Han Jinyuan said coldly. "The young Star Lord is just a woman. She has always been soft-hearted. Now, with my authority as a planet lord, I'll suppress these rebels. And you, Su Yen, you audacious thing. How dare you kill the deities of our sect just like that? I'll suppress you first." The Big Dipper Bell suddenly shot out a terrifying beam of light, penetrating through layers of space and attacking Su Yen. This beam of light seemed very small, but it actually contained very perverse energy waves. Once one was injured by this kind of supreme treasure, they would either die or be seriously injured. Moreover, with Su Yan's current injuries, he couldn't afford to suffer too much. Swoosh! However, Yuan's movements were even faster. He brandished the blood-colored spear, and at the instant it arrived, the terrifying purgatory energy, emanating the aura of the Divine King, blasted towards Su Yan's Big Dipper Bell. The blood-colored spear trembled from the impact. Yuan's heart was greatly shaken. He felt that this was simply a supreme divine weapon. The power was too astonishing. Even someone as strong as his blood-colored spear was trembling. The powerful force caused the web between Yuan's thumb and forefinger to split open. Roar! There was nothing to say. A monstrous radiance shot out from between Baotsai's brows, burning with golden flames. The gigantic golden iron bull had awakened from its slumber. It was like a peerless demon, capable of overturning rivers and seas. Han Jinyuan's expression was very ugly. He didn't expect Tai Baokai to be so decisive, directly bringing out a great killing weapon to fight him. This way, Hokuto would definitely be thrown into chaos, and might even alarm the old Star Lord who was in seclusion. "Enough, all of you, attack!" A cold voice exploded, and an icy aura pervaded the air. The entire ancient star sea was trembling. Another old heavenly deity had come out of seclusion, his aura devouring the starry skies. He was boundlessly powerful and caused the sky to darken. The expert who had come out was draped in iron armor. Although he looked old, he was still very dignified. In his eyes, the sun and moon were sinking, and it was as if the heavens and earth were being split apart. It's the mountain guardian divine beast. There was a lot of discussion in Hokuto. One could faintly feel that this expert's body was emitting a terrifying heaven-devouring aura. This was a powerful life form that had been protecting Hokuto for countless years. The old divine beast, the previous generation's guardian divine beast. Tao Xingyang and the others were astonished. They didn't expect the old divine beast to be in the race. This was Hokuto's guardian divine beast. Hokuto's old divine beast was usually adventuring in the primal chaos ruins. They guessed that the old Star Lord was injured and in seclusion, so the old divine beast had returned to Hokuto to oversee things. How deep was Hokuto's foundation? Even Star Element wasn't sure. After all, it was once a peak race. It was a mystery as to how many old ancestors were hibernating in the space-time hole. How many people are you going to alarm over such a small matter? The old divine beast was extremely angry. Once they started fighting, the matter would become serious. Many elders in Hokuto who were in seclusion would come out one after another. This was definitely not a good thing. Because once they came out from the space-time hole, their lifespan would be depleted even faster. Old divine beast. Han Jinyuan said with a cold face. This kid killed the old Arcade Hall master and colluded with other experts to cause trouble in our race. We have no choice but to suppress him. I already know about this matter. The old divine beast said coldly. Don't cause any more trouble. Han Jinyuan, you should also stop. Han Jin's death back then was his own fault. He can't blame anyone else. Star Element and the others were pleasantly surprised. The old divine beast was going to protect Su Yan? What did you say? Han Jinyuan was furious. Although the divine beast was powerful, he wasn't afraid. After all, he had the Big Dipper bell, which was one of the strongest foundations of the Big Dipper star. As for Su Yan and your group, you have killed my sex god. This is a serious crime. The old divine beast looked at Su Yan and the others and said, although he attacked first, Su Yan, you were too heavy-handed. Hokuto can't tolerate you. Old divine beast, what do you mean by this? Tao Xingyang frowned and said, Su Yan is in seclusion in Hokuto. It was the old Star Lord's order. Don't use your master to pressure me. If the old Star Lord has an opinion, let him come out of seclusion to deal with this matter. The old divine beast said coldly, you guys can leave. Han Jinyuan, stop causing trouble. No. Han Jinyuan held the Big Dipper bell and shook his head. He couldn't let Su Yan go. This was a great opportunity. If he handed Su Yan over to the Ancestral Hall, not only could he get 3 Divine King weapons, but he could also get other benefits. I think you're really confused. The old divine beast said coldly, who is Su Yan? You should know very well that the Zhongyu clan came out and washed the starry ancient path with blood. One of the Divine King was almost killed by them. Do you think you can withstand the wrath of the Zhongyu clan? Have you forgotten the battle of the Big Dipper 100 years ago? Han Jinyuan's face was gloomy. He didn't deny the strength of the Zhongyu clan. If they knew that he was the one who handed Su Yan over to the Ancestral Hall, Han Jinyuan knew that his future wouldn't be easy. I don't care what you want to do, but Su Yan can't die in Hokuto. No matter what his fate is, he can't have anything to do with Hokuto. Let him go, and I won't ask about anything else. That should be fine, right? The old divine beast looked at Su Yan. At present, Su Yan's situation was very bad. Recovering from his injuries? Unless he could get some divine medicine, he wouldn't be able to live for long. If he persisted, his foundation would be greatly damaged, and he wouldn't be able to achieve anything in the future. Since this hot potato had no value, the old divine beast felt that Hokuto shouldn't continue to help Su Yan. Once this matter was leaked out, it would definitely cause a disaster for Hokuto. Han Jinyuan's heart was filled with excitement. He could take advantage of the time after they left to suppress them. Chapter 6:15. No, Su Yen can't leave Hokuto now. He was brought here by the old Star Master, and it was also the old Star Master who ordered us to take good care of Su Yen. Are you going to defy the orders of the Divine King? Tao Xingyang and the rest instantly objected. Asking Su Yen to leave Hokuto now? That was too dangerous. Moreover, Su Yan's injuries were very serious, and he couldn't afford too much trouble. Asking him to leave now was the same as sending him to his death. Star Element and the rest were furious. They didn't expect the old divine beast to make such a decision. It must have seen Su Yan's current state and felt that Su Yan's potential had been crippled. There was no hope of recovery, so it made this decision. As for the old Star Master, I'll explain it myself. I believe he knows the current situation in Hokuto and won't act rashly. The old divine beast said indifferently. If it was the old Su Yen, it would be worth considering, but the current Su Yen could only be treated with divine medicine. It wasn't worth considering at all. No one would take out a divine medicine to help Su Yen, not even Hokuto. That won't do. It's too hasty. Su Yan's injuries are also very serious. Leaving now is the same as courting death. Many elders frowned. Chasing Su Yen away just like that was too unreasonable. This matter isn't up to you to decide. If you want a rebel, just say it. I can help you. The old divine beast and Han Jinyuan were two deities. One could control the Big Dipper Bell, while the other could control all the killing formations in Hokuto. Now that they had unified their statements, this matter was serious. The old divine beast felt that Su Yen wasn't worth Hokuto's efforts anymore. If it was time to give up, it should give up. After all, it felt that it wouldn't get anything in return. The two deities hovered high in the sky. Their intentions weren't too obvious. They were forcing Su Yen to leave now. Star Element and the rest were powerless. The two deities had unified their statements. Unless the old Star Master came out of seclusion, no one could stop their will. Originally, Su Yan's actions on Big Dipper were hidden precisely because he was worried about such a problem. Now, Su Yen had almost perished during his tribulation, and now he was facing such a crisis. It was undeniable that he was somewhat unlucky. Forgive us for not being able to give up on Senior Brother in danger. I want to leave with Senior Brother. Now that eldest Senior Brother is in trouble, are you going to give up on him just like that? Forgive us for not being able to do that. However, they couldn't help but feel aggrieved and angry on Su Yen's. They couldn't just watch as Su Yen fell into danger. Their hearts were filled with resentment. If Su Yen left just like that, Han Jinyuan would definitely target Su Yen first. You juniors are really rebellious. You better reflect on yourselves. Are you Hokuto's disciples or members of the Burial Realms race? Han Jinyuan laughed sinisterly. He suddenly raised a withered hand and swept Xing Jingfu and the rest away. The old divine beast only frowned but didn't stop them. Su Yen was in too much trouble. The old divine beast didn't think that Hokuto would bear such risks for a crippled star domain supreme. After all, the slightest carelessness could cause Hokuto to be consigned to eternal damnation. They couldn't afford to be careless. Damn, you speak as if we really want to stay here. Tai Baokai was furious. At the same time, he was also on guard. Han Jinyuan had been staring at them with sinister eyes. This old bastard wants to target us after driving us away. This way, our life and death won't have much to do with Hokuto. What a good plan. Han Jinyuan, that old bastard, will definitely make his move. Tai Baotsai's eyes flashed with a cold light. Han Jinyuan would definitely be the first to make his move. Now that they were being targeted by a heavenly god, and in Hokuto's territory, the situation was very dangerous. Let us out. We want to live and die with eldest Senior Brother. Xiao Wen and the rest roared angrily. They were all imprisoned in a dungeon. This was a dungeon specially used to imprison criminals. They didn't expect to be imprisoned here and found it hard to accept. Su Yan took a deep breath. He endured the pain in his body, stood up, and said slowly, "Brothers, there's no need to say any more. I won't forget your friendship. No matter what happens in the future, I, Su Yan, will never forget you." Eldest senior brother, don't say that. Feng Xiaomu and the rest were jealous, but there was only a deep sense of powerlessness in their hearts. They were too weak and couldn't do anything now. Su Yan smiled bitterly. He didn't expect to be driven away. Originally, he was prepared to meet up with Bao Kai and the rest before leaving. Su Yan didn't plan to stay in Hokuto for long. Su Yan wanted to return to Earth. No matter what, there was still an expert alive in the ancestral hall. This was too dangerous for Earth. Before leaving, the first place Su Yan wanted to go to was the Inyang Sky River. The Inyang fish could definitely restore Su Yan to his peak and even make him stronger than before. Su Yan, if you really care about the friendship between you two, I hope that before you die, you can imprint a copy of the secret techniques and inheritances you learned and keep them. The Mizar Palace Master said in a sinister voice. His words were full of mockery. There was no doubt that the current Su Yan was no longer the madman Su who dominated the Divine Mountain Range. His weight couldn't be compared to before. Shameless! Yuan let out a low roar. Su Yan, let's go. If we leave Hokuto, we won't starve to death. Ha ha, young man, your courage is commendable. If I'm not wrong, you are all wanted criminals. The Mizar Palace Master replied coldly. You wanted criminals, I hope you can live a few more days on the road to the end of the world. Looking at the vast universe, the peak forces were known throughout the world. If Su Yan's whereabouts were exposed, what awaited them would be hell and a nightmare. After all, the two peak forces wouldn't let the death of Yin Xian and Zhu Anbang go so easily. This was no longer the Divine Mountain Range, but outside, in the era where the peak forces ruled the universe. You don't have to worry about that. Humph, let's go. Yuan and the others quickly retreated, preparing to leave the Big Dipper star region. They were really worried that this matter would be exposed and attract the experts of the Ancestral Hall and the Dark Underworld race. Even the Demon Realm would chase after them. Su Yan, the road ahead is dangerous. Don't be careful. The Mizar Palace Master said coldly. If you die, send back the news so that I can organize the disciples of my sect and burn more paper money for you. They didn't believe that Su Yan could be unharmed. With such serious injuries, if he hadn't obtained some divine medicine essence, he would have most likely died. However, those divine medicine essences couldn't have sustained Su Yan's injuries for too long. Old bastard, I'll be back. You won't be happy for too long. Su Yan clenched his fists. At the same time, he said worriedly, the old Star Master's injuries should be very serious. I don't know when he'll come out of seclusion. I hope that Bamboo Moon can successfully break through. Sigh. Su Yan turned around and looked at the Big Dipper sect. During this period of time, he had experienced ups and downs. Now that he thought about it, he could only let out a long sigh. He also did not know what his physique was and why it was targeted by the vast myriad of tribulations. However, Su Yan's gains were also great. However, the prerequisite was that he had to get up and recover to the peak of the domain realm before he could obtain the treasures. Han Jinyuan, do you really want to kill me that badly? Su Yan's cold eyes also noticed Han Jinyuan's sinister gaze. He was like an old poisonous snake, staring at Su Yan with a sinister smile. He wouldn't let go of this excellent opportunity. He would definitely make a move and capture Su Yan alive. What do we do now? This old bastard definitely won't let us leave so easily. Once we leave Hokuto, he will probably kill us. Yuan was very worried. Bao Kai might have a powerful killing weapon, but Han Jinyuan had the Big Dipper bell. If an accident happened during the journey, it would be a fatal threat to them. Damn it, if this old bastard dares to kill us, I might not lose the treasures I have. When the time comes, I'll think of a way to kill him, Tai Baokai said fiercely. The golden iron ox statue floated in between its eyebrows, ready to explode with a terrifying killing intent at any time. This thing was obtained from Ox Village. They had even moved Ox Village away from the bipolar star. Baokai now had the protection of this statue. Even the Divine King would have a hard time suppressing them. We should think of a way to leave now and let Brother Su Yan recuperate. Tensor was very worried. Su Yan's injuries were too serious. He could die at any moment. Hearing this, Su Yan said weakly, "You don't have to worry about me, and don't bother about this old bastard. If he wants to capture us, it won't be that easy. Just give me some time, and I will be able to stand up." Not to mention that Su Yan was now the Big Dipper Supreme, with his attainments in the occult arts. He wasn't someone who could be found easily. Su Yan also couldn't leave the Big Dipper star region. He had to go to the Enyang galaxy to cultivate in seclusion. That's good. The universe is so big. Is there no place for us brothers to stay? That's right. At worst, we can just barge into the Chaos Ruins. Yuan and the others heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Su Yan could stand up in a short time, there wouldn't be a problem. 2 heavenly deities, can we at least send them off? Star Element and Tao Xingyang glared angrily. The old divine beast and the others had suppressed this area and restricted their freedom. They didn't allow them to get close to Su Yan. Why are you wasting your breath on a dead man? What a waste of time. Han Jinyuan replied coldly. He didn't allow anyone to send them off. He wanted to erupt with a thunderous attack after Su Yan left. You guys are very good. I really want to see how you guys will explain things when the old Star Lord comes out of seclusion. Many elders were angry. No matter what, Su Yan's status was different. Even if he had provoked a great disaster, it was too unfair for Su Yan to be driven out like this. I will personally explain things. The old divine beast didn't mind and said coldly, I hope you guys remember that the ancestral hall isn't something we can provoke. We can't protect Su Yan, and you guys can't save him either. Rather than saying that he will die in Hokuto, it's better to let him fend for himself. Some elders were silent. Su Yan's injuries were too severe. Unless there were divine medicines to help him, they wouldn't be able to do so. However, even if they had divine medicines, they couldn't take them out. After all, a divine medicine was too important to a clan. If the clan's almighty reached the end of their lifespan, they could certainly live for a long time with the divine medicine. A divine medicine could continue a clan's inheritance. It was also an item that could extend the clan's fortune. Hokuto's elders knew that they couldn't let Su Yan recover. Poor Su Yan. Some elders sighed and supported the old divine beast's decision. Although the process was too cruel, it was decisive. If he had to leave, then so be it. How can this fly escape from this old man's palms? How is that possible? Chapter 6:16. Quick look. Didn't Hokuto seal off the mountain? Why do I see someone coming out from there? During this period of time, the Big Dipper starfield was surging with undercurrent. Many influential figures from the surrounding starfields had come to visit the Big Dipper sect. They all wanted to find out who the Big Dipper sovereign was. The Big Dipper sovereign was definitely going to appear, but now this person had disappeared without a trace. It was as if he had evaporated into thin air. Some people suspected that the heavenly tribulation was related to the Big Dipper sovereign. Even the experts from the various major powers were very suspicious. Could it be that the Big Dipper sovereign was facing the tribulation? After all, the strongest of the younger generation in Hokuto was definitely Bamboo Moon. Moreover, they felt that it should be Bamboo Moon to be able to withstand the heavenly tribulation until now. After all, the person undergoing the tribulation was sent to Hokuto. After that, Hokuto announced that it would seal off the mountain and not receive guests. If it was really Bamboo Moon and she had really fallen under the heavenly tribulation, Hokuto would definitely be in chaos. The other star regions would want to find out the specific situation and prepare to take advantage of this situation. No matter what, the identity of the person undergoing the tribulation was very important. The various major powers had sent people to pay close attention to the movements in Hokuto's ancestral land. Now that someone had come out of the starry sky array, it caused a huge uproar. Boundary-breaking talisman! Many people exclaimed. Before they could see clearly who had come out, the group of people who had rushed out of Hokuto had directly used the boundary-breaking talisman. This made them pale. The boundary-breaking talisman's value was needless to say, but the other party had used it directly. Some people were shocked. Could it be that there was a big problem in Hokuto, and someone had used the boundary-breaking talisman to escape? Right now, everything was just their own speculation. They couldn't figure out the specific problem at all. Baokai directly took out a boundary-breaking talisman and opened a space-time tunnel. The light of space-time order surged out. This boundary-breaking talisman was a treasure that could allow one to cross star regions. It was expensive and rare. Once used, even the Divine King would find it extremely difficult to quickly stop an expert using the boundary-breaking talisman. "Let's go!" Yuan let out a low roar. They had no choice but to leave this troublesome place as soon as possible. If news of Su Yan's presence in the Big Dipper starfield was leaked, they would be in mortal danger. Roar! Baokai carried the heavily injured Su Yan and jumped into the space-time tunnel in an instant. Their movements were extremely fast. They took out the boundary-breaking talisman just like that, which shocked the old divine beast. It had underestimated their foundation. However, the old divine beast wouldn't stop Su Yan's group and let them leave. It didn't want to cause trouble, and it didn't want to help a young supreme being who was on the verge of death. Boom! The light from the space-time tunnel was dazzling, forming a deep universe tunnel. The ability to distort the star field was quite shocking and terrifying. It was as if a cosmic beast was crossing through space and time. In a short period of time, they had left this star system. It had to be said that it was too fast. It was even more shocking than riding on the starry sky battleship. Before they left, Su Yan turned back to look at Hokuto. He was grateful to Star Element and the rest. No matter what, many experts in Hokuto treated him sincerely and wouldn't harm him. "Let's go." Su Yan muttered to himself, "Let's go. I don't want to come back." The space-time tunnel traveled rapidly, but it wasn't quiet during this process. Han Jinyuan didn't expect that they would use a boundary-breaking talisman so decisively. "You want to leave? Not so easy." Han Jinyuan woke up in an instant. He had already crossed to the star field outside. The boundary-breaking talisman's speed was indeed fast, but Han Jinyuan was a heaven god. Moreover, he had the Big Dipper bell. He could sense some energy ripples from the boundary-breaking talisman. Boom! It was a shriveled and terrifying giant hand. It followed the space-time ripples and was secretly reviving the Big Dipper bell's energy. "What's going on? Look!" The spectators were shocked. They could see a space-time tunnel shattering in a blur. Han Jinyuan's palm cut through the sky and bombarded with terrifying speed. The space shattered like a mirror. This was the power of the heavenly deity. It affected the vast starry sky. Countless stars in the universe trembled along with it. Some of the great stars in the universe even exploded at the moment when the huge hand swept over. A heaven god is making a move. Something big must have happened in Hokuto. The heaven god's aura spread and shocked the experts gathered here. Everyone could see that the heaven god wanted to break open the boundary-breaking talisman tunnel and suppress the people who just left Hokuto. Han Jinyuan, this old thing, is just like Han Jin. All of this fell into Su Yan's eyes. Although he was severely injured, he was relatively calm. Murderous intent appeared in his deep eyes. If they were really in the boundary-breaking talisman tunnel just now, they wouldn't have been able to escape the heaven god's attack. After all, the boundary-breaking talisman couldn't take them out of the Big Dipper star region in a short period of time. The moment the boundary-breaking talisman was activated, Su Yen directly left the space of the talisman. He was the Big Dipper Supreme and could fuse with the source of the star region. Moreover, with the broken cauldron suppressing them, even the Divine King couldn't find them. That old bastard, he really wants to target us. He wants to take advantage of the moment when we leave Hokuto to make a move. Baokai and the others were incomparably angry. If it were before, Han Jinyuan would really have to consider the consequences. But now that Su Yen was severely injured, they believed that Su Yen wouldn't be able to stand. Therefore, they decided to suppress him and hand him over to the Ancestral Hall. Should we spread the news and ask the experts of the Zong clan to kill him? Tensor spat out. He was well aware that a year ago, a group of old experts of the burial realm had bathed the starry sky road in blood, leading to endless slaughter. The Ancestral Hall and the Dark Underworld race had both suffered heavy losses. If the burial realm learned of the situation here, they would definitely come out to avenge Su Yen. No! Su Yen shook his head and indifferently said, I have a personal grudge with Han Jinyuan. Once the news spreads, the Ancestral Hall will most likely target Hokuto. No matter what, we can't bring disaster here. That's true. If it weren't for them, you wouldn't have been able to leave the Divine Mountain Range so easily. What should we do next? Iyuan said anxiously. Su Yan's injuries were too severe. His body was rotting. If it weren't for the divine medicine essence flowing through his body, Su Yan's condition would have been much worse. Come with me. We're going to the Big Dipper now. Su Yen controlled the broken cauldron and carefully left the starry sky. He wanted to find the two fish kings in the Yin-Yang River and extract their source strength to nourish his injured body. It wasn't far from here to the Big Dipper. Even when they passed by the desolate mountain range, Iyuan explained their experiences during this period. What made Su Yen astonished was that they had moved the ox village to the Zhang family village. Daesung Nyo's talent is too strong. Although he's still a child, he's as strong as a barbaric dragon. Not only is his physique special, but it's also very powerful, Tensor said with a smile. During the migration, they had also imparted many divine abilities and secret arts to Daesung Nyo to help him grow. Daesung Nyo's bloodline power was extremely strong, and even his talent was exceptional. There was a lot of room for growth in the future. Once he reached adulthood, he would definitely be a famous young giant. Baokai spat out a golden iron ox stone statue. The stone statue was simple and unadorned. It had shrunk into a small golden iron ox seal and was filled with a heavy and terrifying aura. Back then, they had encountered a massacre in the Divine Mountain Range. If they hadn't grasped the stone statue at the crucial moment, the consequences would have been unimaginable. But after a series of battles, the stone statue had killed a large number of experts from the demon realm. However, the divine power contained within the stone statue had been greatly reduced. Even so, its power was still extremely strong. This thing can withstand the Divine King. Baokai gritted his teeth and said, It's a pity that the consumption of divine power is too great. I can't use it too many times. If it wasn't for that old fogey Han Jinyuan controlling the Big Dipper bell, I would have used the stone statue to kill him. This stone statue's killing power was unparalleled. Even gods couldn't withstand it. Baokai had once used this stone statue to kill a few demon gods from the demon realm. It couldn't be helped. The influence of the banners of demons on the demon realm was too great. Now the entire demon realm was searching for Baocai's track. They had been hiding all the way to the Big Dipper star region and had gradually shaken off their pursuit. Just as Su Yen was about to reach the entrance of the Big Dipper star, a loud roar came from the distant starry sky. The gods were enraged. Their chi and blood surged and illuminated the starry sky. Han Jinyuan was flustered and exasperated. He was so angry that his hair stood on end. He had used a Herculean effort to open the boundary-breaking talisman tunnel, but Su Yen had already disappeared. "You bastards, you won't be able to escape." Han Jinyuan's eyes were filled with resentment. He really didn't expect that Su Yen would be able to escape. How could he, a dignified god, endure this? The power of a god spread out from Han Jinyuan's body. It was very terrifying and suppressed the vast starry sky. He said coldly, "And you are already injured to this extent. There's no way you can survive. You want to find a beautiful place to slowly wait for death? That's impossible. I will definitely find you and collect your corpse." Star Element and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Su Yen had escaped, and they couldn't find any trace of him. When the Star Lord comes out of seclusion, how should I explain this to him? Could it be that he really incurred the jealousy of the heavens? Why did he have to undergo a myriad of tribulations? Could it be that the heavens can't tolerate Su Yen? Tao Xingyang sighed. Su Yan's injuries were too severe. Without the help of divine medicine, it would be very difficult for him to survive. What exactly happened in Hokuto? Why did Han Jinyuan, whose lifespan is about to dry up, come out of seclusion? Who was he targeting just now? Everyone in the world was paying attention to this matter, and it caused an uproar. There were even people who couldn't help but guess if it was Su Yen. However, this thought was too shocking. If the one who was undergoing the tribulation was really Su Yen, could it be that a supreme being of a generation had fallen under the heavenly tribulation? Many people felt that it couldn't be Su Yen. He couldn't be so strong, even if he had killed the son of a supreme being. "Old thing, you still want to collect my corpse? I definitely won't spare you." Su Yan's eyes flashed with coldness. They had crossed over to the Big Dipper. Ever since the Big Dipper Supreme Being had a master, a large group of foreign experts had left the Big Dipper. "Big Dipper, we're here again." Yuan sighed. Back then, they were still small cultivators of the Tao realm. Now, they were already great Tao realm experts. Over 10 years had passed. "Su Yen, what are we doing here? Right now, your top priority is to recuperate. If there's really no other choice, we can go look for the Starry Sky King Beast. With our status and resources, we should be able to exchange for a sacred healing item." Tensor pondered for a while and said, "Time is of the essence. We have to take the risk even if it's necessary. There's no hurry. There's a fortune that we want to take away." Su Yen smiled. Although the injuries on his body were severe, with them brothers together, Su Yen felt very at ease. He felt that no matter how big the storm was, they would be able to get through it. "What did you say? 2 fish kings that are as big as mountains?" The Baokai shuddered and immediately stood up, its big ears perked up in shock. Chapter 6:17. Su Yen and the rest moved in the dark and approached Big Dipper City. Big Dipper City was now under Hokuto's control. Even the entrance to the dragon's lair was under Hokuto's control. Big Dipper City was also abuzz with discussions. Many experts had rushed back to Hokuto. The news of the Heavenly Gods incident had alarmed all the major families. They all wanted to know what had happened. "Let's go to the dragon's lair." With Su Yan's methods, it was too easy for him to sneak into the dragon's lair. There was no trace of anyone inside. After all, the fortune had already been taken away. The Yin-Yang galaxy had been patrolled many times by the experts of various races, but no other treasures were found. Su Yen was really worried. Would the Fish Kings be taken away? If such a fortune was really taken away, it probably wouldn't be leaked out. After all, the size of the 2 Fish Kings was still unforgettable to Su Yen. Their value was enough to make the Almighty tremble. He was now anxiously hoping for the life essence of the Fish Kings to nourish his injured body. The yin-yang fish, according to ancient legends, can only be nurtured in a special environment. The yin-yang fish can strengthen the human body's potential, while the yang fish can replenish the human body's qi and blood. It's a type of great tonic. It's very expensive and expensive. That's right. The bigger the fish, the stronger the effect. This is an extremely rare treasure. If we can really find the fish kings, then we'll be rich. Raising 2 fish kings to lay eggs is an inexhaustible wealth. Kid, why do I feel that this is unreliable? Is there really a fish king? Baukai didn't believe in heresy. They were squatting in the broken cauldron and had already escaped into the extreme Yin River. I won't joke with my life. But are the yin yang fish still here? That's a problem. Su Yan was looking forward to the dragon totem finding traces of the fish kings. In the yin yang galaxy, it was relatively easy for the yin yang fish to hide. Only the dragon totem could quickly dig out the yin yang fish. Buzz! Su Yan's broken body glowed. He had eaten many healing items that could temporarily stabilize his injured body. However, these medicines couldn't help Su Yan's injuries. He was very anxious. He knew that the longer his injuries were delayed, the more disadvantageous it was for Su Yan. The broken cauldron sank. In the pitch-black river, the cauldron seemed simple. The deeper it went, the heavier the yin qi became. However, the river was very quiet. There was not a single living creature. Even the dragon totem was very quiet. This made Su Yan very surprised and confused. Could it be that the yin-yang fish had all been captured by outsiders? He didn't think it was possible. He knew that. And could use the powers could use. Powers could uses power. Was. And s. Was. Oh right. Did you guys meet Tai Gongji? Su Yan asked. He had forgotten about Tai Gongji in the yin-yang galaxy. Baukai and the others were confused. How could they forget about Tai Gongji? He was sleeping in the yin-yang remnant meridians. Then, they worked together to deal with the ancestral palace. After that, the godly mountain range changed. Oh no! Yuan smiled bitterly. I forgot about Tai Gongji. Could he have been swallowed by the demon fog? Tensor and the others were stunned. It was very possible. That's not possible, right? Su Yan's expression changed. Tai Gongji was very mysterious. When he fell into the demon fog for the first time, Su Yan thought he was done for. It was Tai Gongji who brought Su Yan to Heaven Mountain. Su Yan didn't know what happened in the process, but Tai Gongji was a mysterious creature. He must know a lot about history. He felt that Tai Gongji wouldn't have been killed by the demon fog. It would be great if Tai Gongji was here. He should be familiar with the yin-yang fish. Su Yan frowned. When the yin-yang fish kings fought, the yin-yang qi blended and created a yin-yang tunnel. This caused Su Yan to escape into the underground palace. But was the underground palace still there? Keep looking. Su Yan scratched his head and continued to drive the broken cauldron to search in the yin-yang galaxy. Soon, they reached the bottom of the extreme Yin River and saw a golden yang river. Su Yan's heart was heavy. He didn't find a single extreme yang fish in the extreme Yin River. This is troublesome. Su Yan's breathing was rapid. If he couldn't find a single one, he had to find something to treat his injuries. Otherwise, Su Yan's injuries would be fatal. Time flew by. Just like that, a day passed. Su Yan was anxious and uneasy. During this time, he absorbed a lot of healing items. However, Su Yan felt that he couldn't hold on any longer. He couldn't even find the location of the yin-yang tunnel. In short, there wasn't a single yin-yang fish in the yin-yang galaxy. Su Yan's hope was about to be extinguished. He struggled in his heart. Was this fate? Cough! He coughed violently. Blood flowed out of his mouth. His body was already full of holes and looked like it was about to collapse. Su Yan was in so much pain that he wanted to die. He clenched his fists and tried to suppress the injuries on his body. He resisted the urge to faint and let out a painful growl. This scene made Baukai and the others pale. Su Yan's situation was very dangerous. He couldn't bear the pain anymore. Yuan immediately roared. It's hopeless, we can't find the yin-yang fish at all. Let's hurry up and leave. I think we should find the young Dragon King, the Starry Sky Beast King, or Zhixioning. They calculated that they could only trust these three friends. Or they could go to the Ziwei Segmentum again and find Yi Si Yun. It's too dangerous to find Yi Si Yun and Zhixioning. Moreover, it's not easy to find them. Bao Kai thought and said in a low voice, there's still some hope for the Starry Beast King. However, it's not easy to find the Starry Beast King's nest. Su Yen can't hold on for much longer. Don't worry about me. Su Yen lay in the broken cauldron and muttered to himself, find a way to find our people. Tell them that their home is in danger. Originally, Su Yen didn't want to say it. Now that they knew, there was nothing they could do. They could only let Yuan and Bao Kai worry for nothing. However, the situation was serious. Su Yen had to say it now. He was afraid that he would really die and be buried in the outer realm. He could only say it in advance. What? That guy is still alive? The Ancestral Hall has already sent people to find him. Yuan's expression changed. If the Earth was exposed and the Ancestral Hall found the approximate coordinates, then it would be a disaster for the later progenitor. Perhaps the Ancestral Hall could lure the people of the burial region out through the later progenitor. If that was the case, would the burial region still have any hope? This was a matter of genocide. Yuan's eyes turned red. He clenched his fists and veins popped out all over his body. If that's really the case, the consequences will be unimaginable. Yuan's eyes turned red. It was very likely that they would be wiped out in one fell swoop. Then, the countless years of perseverance and the struggle of the older generation would be wasted and destroyed. Roar. Bao Kai let out a manic roar. His black and white fur stood on end as he roared in a low voice, let's go to the Fiend Realm and contact the Supreme Being's bloodline back then. We'll ask for the Divine Medicine's essence. No. Su Yen grabbed Bao Cai's neck with his blood-stained hand and hurriedly said, the risk is too great. You have to survive and obtain all the inheritances of the banners of demons in the future. Only then will you be qualified to fight against the Ancestral Hall. You can't take the risk for me. It's not worth it now. What nonsense are you talking about? We three brothers came together. None of us can be lost. If we die together. If we live together. Yuan reprimanded loudly and shouted, the most direct way now is to find Zhixioning. It won't be difficult to find her. After all, with her power, she can definitely obtain the sacred healing item. We're rich now and don't lack money. We must find a way to go back. We can't waste our time here. Tensor was silent. The burial region had experienced too much bloodshed. Su Yen and the others all wanted to do something for their own clan. Yuan felt that whether it was Su Yen or Bao Kai, they all had terrifying potential. There was hope for them to become experts among experts in the future. One was in charge of the banners of demons and the other was in charge of the Mother Scripture. If both of them died, would the burial region still have any hope? Just as they were arguing, Su Yen suddenly became highly vigilant. He secretly hid the broken cauldron in the space and said in a low voice, stop talking. Someone is coming. It's a big guy. Calm down and don't let his aura leak out. Who is it? Could it be the expert who captured King Puyu? Zhang Liang was stunned. He tried to sense it carefully, but he couldn't find anything wrong. I don't know. Su Yen shook his head slightly. He was also very vigilant. An expert who could silently sneak in was not simple. After all, he was the Big Dipper Supreme. He knew the origin of the Big Dipper star field very well. He sensed a huge aura above the extreme Yin River. The other party was deliberately concealing it. If it wasn't for Su Yen obtaining the Big Dipper Great Tao imprint and having an extraordinary understanding of heaven and earth, Su Yen wouldn't have noticed it. This made Su Yen break out in cold sweat. The other party's concealment method was too brilliant. If they didn't notice in advance and silently approach them, the consequences would be too severe. The extreme Yin River was very quiet. This place was affecting their vision. The broken cauldron and the space merged into one. Su Yen closed his eyes inside the cauldron. He sensed that the huge shadow with the huge aura was rapidly approaching below. This made Su Yen very surprised. What was the purpose of dealing with it? It's coming! Su Yen shouted fiercely. Bao Kai and the others opened their eyes wide and looked outside the broken cauldron. However, they were puzzled. They couldn't see anything different. I say, Su Yen can't be having terminal lucidity and looking back at himself, right? Bao Kai scratched his big round head and muttered to Yuan with panda eyes. Yuan glared fiercely at Bao Kai. Su Yen wasn't so weak that he couldn't even withstand this little bit of time. After all, his physical body was too strong. There was also a strand of divine medicine essence in his body that was keeping him alive. He wouldn't be in danger for a short period of time. Teacher Yuan, take this. Su Yen took out the golden bow and silver force armor. With the help of these two treasures, Yuan's combat power should be able to reach the level of a god. Moreover, he also had the Divine King's weapon and the golden bow to protect him. He was armed to the teeth. Is he really making arrangements for his death? Bao Kai had an ominous feeling. Its big ears twitched. At this moment, Su Yen controlled the broken cauldron and followed the huge shadow. Tensor and the others could only wait patiently when this person sank to the deepest part of the extreme Yin River and was about to cross the extreme Yang River. A sinister aura faintly spread out from the pitch-black space. Bao Kai suddenly stood up. He took out the banners of demons and wanted to suppress it directly. There's really someone. Yuan took out the Divine King's weapon. Tensor also bent his body. He could explode with his strongest combat power in an instant. He also held the dark heavenly blade. Don't act rashly. This is a big fish. Chapter 6:18. Shuiguan. Tensor was shocked. The battle between Su Yen and Shuiguan that year was also the battle where Su Yen established his status as a young supreme. That battle was truly earth-shattering, and belonged to the pinnacle of the younger generation. Su Yen and Shuiguan both gave it their all and fought with all their strength. Although more than 2 years had passed, the battle between him and Shuiguan was still frequently discussed. Even Su Yan's battle prowess was regarded as a goal by the young kings of the various pinnacle races. It was said that the battle between Su Yen and Shuiguan was recorded in a spatial jade slip made by the Merchant Union. Although the spatial jade slip couldn't bear the complete battle, and the image was very blurry, every spatial jade slip was sold for an extremely high price. Even now, there was still a shortage of supply. This undoubtedly showed that the impact of the battle that year was too great. It subverted many people's understanding of the battle prowess of the younger generation, and even allowed them to understand the tyrannical strength of the heavenly supremes. In any case, Shuiguan had already fallen, and Su Yen was also in a state of disappearance in the universe. Now, Su Yan's words made their hearts tremble. An expert related to Shuiguan had appeared in the Yin-Yang galaxy. How could they not be scared? Could it be? Tensor frowned fiercely. He thought of something. Perhaps Su Yen had seen Shuiguan's Tao Protector. They had also seen it that year. The person behind Shuiguan had appeared. Could it be the leader of the Crepe Myrtle sect? This aura is too sinister. It gives me a very ominous feeling. Be careful. Bao Kai, don't act rashly, Yuan said in a deep voice. He could feel that the aura in front of them was as sinister as purgatory. It was abnormally terrifying and cold, and it made their skin and bones shiver. It was as if they had fallen into purgatory. It's definitely a big guy. Bao Kai was very sure. Even the broken cauldron couldn't defend against it. Su Yen was also very surprised. Shuiguan's protectors didn't come to settle the score with him at the moment of Shuiguan's death. They didn't even reveal the slightest bit of information. This made Su Yen feel that this organization was too mysterious and amazing. Buzz. Suddenly, not too far away from the broken cauldron, It was as if a black sun had exploded, creating a scene of destruction. Billowing black fog seeped out from the space, as if the space was bleeding. Black blood flowed out and the crushed space exploded. Under the fearful gazes of Su Yen and the others, there was a shadow in the space of destruction. It was like a ghost, and the aura it emitted was extremely sinister and sinister. Moreover, a black chain was revolving around this black ghostly shadow. The sound it emitted was like a demonic sound transmitted from the hell, and it made their hair stand on end. It was extremely horrifying. In the billowing demonic fog, the black shadow was erratic. They couldn't see its specific appearance, but its scarlet eyes were like two blood-red crescent moons. Its aura was extremely sinister. Damn, what the hell is this thing? It looks too sinister. Bao Kai felt his scalp go numb. This ghostly figure was too sinister. It didn't seem like a living creature, but more like a dead substance that materialized in space. If it wasn't for the broken cauldron concealing them, they would definitely have been discovered by the other party. Tenser's expression became serious. Back then, Shueguan's protectors had attacked before, and they were in a similar form. He suspected that this was Shueguan's protector, but what was this person doing here? They couldn't even tell what race this creature was from, or perhaps it was from a very special race. A power that can transform Shueguan's yin-yang physique into a dual sovereign physique. TSK, just think about it and you'll know how terrifying and mysterious it is. Even after the event, they didn't have the slightest intention of revenge. A bone-chilling light flashed through Yuan's eyes. He felt that the waters here were too deep. There were many unknown things in the universe. Bao Kai and the others especially felt the same way. Back then, the mysterious sea of bones, the bronze weapon tree they encountered, and the demonic foggy world that was suppressed under the great Tao mountain made them tremble in fear. They always felt that the universe was mysterious and vast, and it was not as simple as people thought. There were unknown mysteries hidden in it. The stronger one's cultivation, the more secrets one would know. Perhaps one day, when they were strong enough, they would be able to see through the myriad realms and understand the mysteries of the universe. Su Yen frowned and took out a black chain. He carefully compared it with the black chain controlled by the mysterious creature and found that the two were very similar. However, he didn't know how to control the black chain. Instead, under the control of the mysterious creature, the black chain was entwined with black fog, and strange black symbols faintly appeared. What kind of treasure is this? Bao Kai held the black chain in its claws and carefully examined it, but it couldn't tell what it was. Su Yen pondered and said, "Back then, we found Iron Rooster in the Yin-Yang Celestial River, and we also found a black chain in the underground palace. I keep feeling that there's some connection between them. If we can find Iron Rooster, we should be able to figure out their origins. I feel that this black chain is making my primordial spirit throb, and I have a feeling that it's about to collapse. Maybe it's a primordial spirit treasure." While they were discussing and communicating, the mysterious black creature took out a small blood-red altar. Altar? What does it want? Was it the one who took the Fish King? They were very puzzled and they couldn't act rashly. After all, they didn't know anything and needed to understand what happened. 1. The small blood-red altar lit up, and a bloody light suddenly surged. This altar was very special, and it had a very ancient power of time and space. It was like a space-time altar. Su Yen saw the black creature sitting cross-legged on the small blood-red altar. Rooney's old house. He seemed to be reciting some mysterious words. Su Yen and the others couldn't hear it, but Su Yan's heart was trembling. Why did he feel that this ancient language was similar to the words he had heard in the Ultimate Land when he was reprimanding Almighties? Could it be an ancient language, so ancient that people have forgotten about it? This organization is too mysterious. I wonder what they're doing? Could they have captured the Fish King and taken it away? Su Yan's heart was filled with shock. This matter was too shocking. As the mysterious creature recited the ancient language, the small blood-red altar lit up and enlarged, emitting the ancient language. As time passed, the syllables became louder and louder. In the end, the sound was transmitted with a force that could shake the stars in the 9 heavens. Su Yen and the others were very shocked. The world in front of them had changed. When the blood altar erupted to the extreme, it changed, as if it had turned into a world of yin and yang. This was because the blood altar was rather yang and terrifying, and the mysterious creature's aura was rather cold. When the two auras combined and collided violently, and burned to the extreme, a blurry and ancient yin-yang cave slowly opened. "Look, there's a cave within a cave," Baokai screamed. They were all shocked. This matter had overturned their thinking. They didn't realize that there was another passage here. It did exist now, and Su Yen felt that this ancient passage was very similar to the yin-yang cave opened when the yin-yang fish king collided. When they looked into the cave's world, they felt like their souls were being sucked away. This was because the world in the cave was boundlessly grand and vast, with no end in sight. It was like a space-time tunnel that led to the other end of the universe, gushing with the fluctuations of the vast river of time, from near to far. Where did this yin-yang cave lead to? Baokai and the others were stunned. They realized that when the yin-yang cave opened and burned to the extreme, they could faintly see a yin-yang sky river flowing at the other end. The two yin-yang sky rivers stood opposite each other, as if they could eventually converge and combine to form a larger yin-yang river. Are there traces of the yin-yang fish? Su Yen was pleasantly surprised because the dragon totem was burning fiercely. He carefully sensed the dragon totem's temperature and realized that it was similar to the temperature of the yin-yang fish. Su Yen couldn't resist the urge to rush into the yin-yang cave. "Look, he's going in," Tensor exclaimed. He saw the mysterious creature and the small blood-red altar fall into the yin-yang tunnel. "Let's go in too." Yuan instantly made a judgment, feeling that there should be something on the other end. However, just as they made the decision, their expressions changed instantly. The yin-yang cave had just opened, but it quickly turned blurry. The entrance seemed to not exist as it began to dissipate amidst the blur. The space in front also returned to its original state. Baokai ran out and struck the space with its claws. It expressed its shock. Space was still space. They had spent a lot of effort but failed to discover what was hidden in the space. Even space could be shattered. Yuan could penetrate it with the Divine King's weapon. What's going on? Perhaps the energy and matter involved is extremely shocking. Only an expert can explain it clearly. Could it be that your yin-yang fish king swam into another cave through the same entrance? They conversed here and felt that the possibility was very high. They planned to stay here and continue waiting. When the time came, they would use De Li's qi to suppress the black creature that had escaped and dig out the secrets inside. However, they ignored time. They waited here for an entire day. There was no fluctuation in the space. Even on the second day, Su Yen was on the verge of collapsing. His face was even paler, devoid of color, and he was drowsy. Su Yan's body was filled with the essence of the divine medicine. Like a thread, it could be extinguished at any time. "Let's go." Yuan and the others could not wait any longer. They could not go on like this. Even what was on the other end of the yin-yang cave was still unknown. Just as they were about to leave the yin-yang cave again, Su Yen took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "Someone else is coming." They waited with unease and anticipation. The result surprised them. Another black creature came. It was very similar to the previous one. When he took out the small blood-colored altar, Baokai said solemnly, "The location he opened is different from the previous one. Why do I feel like we've encountered something big? It's like I've seen something terrifying and mysterious. Perhaps we've encountered an incredible organization. No matter what, when he opens the yin-yang cave, we'll suppress him and cross to the other end of the yin-yang cave." They conversed. Time was running out. They had to take the risk. They knew that the divine medicine was too precious. Even if they found Zhixioning or the Divine King to help them, it would be extremely difficult to obtain the divine medicine. Chapter 6:19. Inside the broken cauldron, Yuan and the others were waiting to use all their power in one go to ensure that nothing would go wrong during the ambush. Ambush a deity. Su Yen was rather nervous. Unfortunately, his injuries were too severe to be of much help. It was extremely difficult for a virtue realm expert to attack a deity. Even if they had the help of secret treasures, it was still not that easy. There was always the risk of death. Gulu, the mysterious ancient language, was transmitted. In the land of the extreme Een River, the mysterious black creature sat cross-legged on a small blood-colored altar. The altar burned fiercely. As the black creature chanted the ancient language faster and faster, the light that erupted from the blood altar also became brighter and brighter. This was like a special ritual and also like an ancient sacrificial ritual. Overall, in their eyes, it was rather evil and mysterious. Moreover, the syllables of the ancient language became more and more profound and grand. They collided with the space-time in front of them, as if they were touching something hidden in the space-time. The ancient language chanted by the mysterious creature was like the key to opening the space-time password. In short, it was extremely evil. Baokai and the others paid close attention. In the end, they could confirm that the method to find Enyang Cave was based on this mysterious ancient language. However, they could not understand it and could not decipher its content. Boom. The syllables continued to rumble. Indeed, the space-time in front of them was like boiling water, rolling and rippling as energy ripples extended. This ancient language contained an extremely mysterious power. It was like a demonic sound transmitted from hell, penetrating deep into one's soul. It's about to open. Yuan was the first to step forward. The silver force armor awakened. He was like a sleeping silver deity, emitting an extremely terrifying aura. The silver force armor pushed Yuan's combat strength to the level of a silver deity. Bam! Suddenly, the space-time in front of them trembled violently. It was as if an ancient Enyang secret door had started to appear in a blur. A magnificent Enyang cave appeared, emitting a vast aura of time and space as if it led to the other end of the world. Of course, that was not all. The aura of the small blood-colored altar and the black creature also surged out. It was as if they had struck out with the power of Yin and Yang, penetrating Enyang Cave and opening up an ancient passageway. Attack! Yuan pounced like a cheetah. Now that the path had been revealed, it was possible to cross into the inner region. However, they had no idea how long the path would last. In any case, they had to kill this mysterious creature before they could cross into the inner region. TSK. The black creature with a sinister aura let out a sinister laugh. He was moving towards Enyang Cave, but just as he was about to reach it, the space behind him exploded. Silver light filled the sky. Kill! Yuan charged out, her hair dancing in the wind. She was like a martial arts god, wielding a blood-colored spear. The slumbering divine king's weapon had awakened. That incomparably terrifying strength began to blast towards the black creatures. Boom! The entire extreme Een River was trembling. Yuan's battle prowess was strong enough, but the black creature was a deity. Faced with the sudden attack, black fog surged out of its erratic body. It was as if it had turned into a stretch of purgatory. It was sinister and ferocious, emitting a deafening demonic sound. In an instant, Yuan's figure trembled violently while his heart showed signs of collapsing. It was even to the extent that the blood-red spear he brandished missed its target. This caused him to turn pale with astonishment because he felt great terror as if his heart was being crushed. Ah! The next moment, Yuan let out a painful cry. His eyes were about to split open. In the dark purgatory he was facing, a pair of blood-colored eyes opened. They were like real blood-colored moons, emitting a bloody light. It shone so brightly that Yuan's eyes were bleeding. What was this? Yuan had the battle prowess of a deity, but when faced with a deity, he was like a child with only strength. It was very difficult for him to cause any substantial damage to a deity. This gave them a deeper understanding of deities. However, these were not their only killing moves. The most powerful one was Baotsai's banners of demons. Watch me. Just as the black creature was about to kill Yuan, Baokai streaked across the sky. Its snow-white claws waved an ancient flag. The flag fluttered loudly, and a terrifying aura of 10,000 demons surged forth. It was as if 10,000 layers of the universe had descended from the sky. Ah! The black creature trembled, and the dark creature within let out a sharp cry. It was as if an evil spirit had gone mad. It erupted with its most powerful strength to resist the banners of demons. Chi! Tensor rushed out. He brandished the black sword embryo and furiously slashed at the black creature. A great battle broke out just like that. The banners of demons bombarded the limitless purgatory until more than half of the black fog collapsed. It had to be said that the banners of demons were powerful. They were attacking the black creature until its body and soul were about to be destroyed. Ant! He let out a sharp cry like a wild beast. A black chain strangely appeared, as if a black poisonous snake had awakened. Ah! What made Su Yan's expression turn ugly was that Baokai and the other two let out painful cries in unison. The black chain contained a terrifying demonic power. It was like a poisonous snake. They all felt a great fear as if their souls were about to fall and explode into pieces. With their spiritual willpower, the weapons they were holding were about to leave their hand. Their souls were about to be extracted from their bodies and refined into ashes. This made them turn pale with fright. This black chain was too evil. They couldn't block it, and even their primordial spirits were about to be melted. Dong dong! All of a sudden, Buddhist light shone in all directions. A majestic Buddha appeared in the sky as if it was sitting cross-legged in the space-time of the future. It chanted Buddhist words one after another, and its aura was vast and terrifying. It shook the purgatory world until it trembled. Su Yan frantically circulated the Sutra of Future. His primordial spirit, that was about to enter the Tao integration realm, was resplendent and blazing. It was as if a great power was transmitted from the future. It shook toward the primordial spirit of the black creature. In a short period of time, Baokai and the others regained their clarity of mind. They instantly charged forward and attacked the black purgatory. They used their killing techniques to bombard the black creature's body. In a single exchange, the banners of demons, blood spear, and the black sword embryo attacked. So what if it was a deity? Its body was also blown apart. Su Yan frowned slightly. The blown-up body had no blood. It was like a battle body formed from a combination of substances. What was this? Damn it, I was scared to death. It was too dangerous. His primordial spirit is extremely strong. Only a Tao integration realm primordial spirit can contend against it. Almost all deities have cultivated such primordial spirit. On the contrary, there are very few Tao integration realm experts. Baotsai's hair was covered in cold sweat. It was too dangerous just now. They could have died if they were not careful. Yuan and the others were pale. It was indeed very dangerous just now. Fortunately, Su Yan acted in time. However, just as the three of them turned around and were about to escape into the broken cauldron and cross to Yinyang Cave, the shattered darkness reformed. A black shadow that had been blown apart was reformed. It strangely appeared behind Baokai and the others. It smiled eerily. The black light that overflowed from its body made the three of them shiver. Their bodies were about to shatter, and blood began to spurt out of their pores. Oh no! Tensor and the others were shocked. His body was clearly shattered, but it was healing. Was this a method to revive the dead? The black creature even used its Tao integration realm primordial spirit to shake off the pressure from Su Yan's Sutra of the Future. The backlash caused Su Yan's primordial spirit to tremble. This made Su Yan turn pale with fright. Revival from the dead? Or was it because his heavenly art was special? Die. The black creature revealed a cruel killing intent. The divine power in its body swept out. Yuan and the others were struck by lightning. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and fell to the ground one after another. After all, it was too sudden. They had no time to resist. Neither human nor ghost, I'll send you on your way. Su Yan's primordial spirit suddenly leaped out and transformed into a golden Su Yan. It was awe-inspiring. His divine eyes were like lightning. Taoism and Buddhism were one. With a loud roar, the void split apart. His battle aura surged as if he was standing in the future and waving his fist. Dong. Su Yan's punch was filled with the supreme purifying power of Buddhism. He even used the profound meaning of the Fist of Time. This also made it so that in a short period of time, his fist smashed into the black creature's sea of consciousness indiscriminately. This fist smashed into the black creature's primordial spirit until it trembled, releasing a roar of pain. This was an indiscriminate attack. In addition, Su Yan's primordial spirit possessed the power of Buddhism that could purify evil substances. Therefore, the black creature was in extreme pain. Kill! Su Yan's primordial spirit shouted loudly. It was as if he had transformed into a Buddhist fighting Buddha. Buddhist light illuminated everything as he blasted out punch after punch. He was full of power. He bombarded the black creature's primordial spirit until it began to split apart. After all, Su Yan cultivated the Sutra of the Future and grasped the sinister divine ability Fist of Time. He struck the black creature's primordial spirit until it grew dimmer and dimmer. Su Yan felt that his own primordial spirit's power was about to melt the black creature's primordial spirit. The black creature released an angry voice. Ants, do you know what you are doing? You even dare to spy on the Yin-Yang Road. Ants. He expressed his anger. He had seen through Su Yan's intentions. Otherwise, how would these juniors dare to attack a deity? Ants, I'll kill you all the same. Tensor and the others were furious. They dragged their injured bodies and charged in. They used their greatest power to tear apart the black purgatory that was being reconstructed. A group of ants. The black creature was furious. It roared continuously. It found Su Yan's actions inconceivable. They were too daring. If news of this got out, it would scare everyone to death. Bam! Su Yan unleashed his strongest attack. Without a word, he bombarded the black creature and shattered its remnant soul. Moreover, its physical body exploded once again. It could be said that its body and soul were destroyed. I don't believe it can be revived. Baokai panted heavily. He had suffered too much just now and was almost killed by this evil spirit. He never expected its primordial spirit to be so powerful. On the contrary, this creature's physical body wasn't strong. If it was a powerful deity, it would be too difficult to kill it. Perhaps when it suddenly revived just now, it could take advantage of Baokai and the others not paying attention and kill them all in one move. It was too dangerous to fight a deity. Su Yan's primordial spirit was greatly damaged. If this black creature could recover, he could only use Baotsai's treasures. The Yin-Yang cave is about to disperse. Yuan roared fiercely. Hurry up and go in. Otherwise, we won't have a chance. Su Yan nodded and returned his primordial spirit. The broken cauldron flew over and sucked the three of them in. Chapter 620. The broken cauldron tore through the air and crashed into the rapidly disappearing Yin-Yang cave. When it crashed into the cauldron, it was as though it had rushed into a space-time tunnel. The broken cauldron shook violently, as though it had encountered the suppression of a space-time storm. However, with the mysterious and special nature of the broken cauldron, this space-time force could not stop it. This is like a space-time tunnel. Are we going to enter another starry sky through the space-time tunnel? Tensor said in surprise. I really don't know what this organization does. It's difficult to verify the age of the Inyang Sky River, but how can the two be connected? I even feel that the other side is also a Inyang Sky River. All of this was too mysterious and inconceivable. However, Su Yen, who had seen Sky Mountain and even crossed from Sky Mountain to the Ziwei segmentum, did not feel too shocked. However, he still felt that this organization was powerful and mysterious. First of all, how was the Inyang Sky River born? Who set up the Inyang Cave? There were even two Inyang caves here. Could they lead to different regions? It was terrifying to think about. They felt that there was a great secret behind all of this. It was so mysterious that even Hokuto did not understand it. Su Yen believed that this mysterious organization was the expert behind Shui Guan. However, they had not come to settle the score with him despite their mystery and power. This made Su Yen somewhat suspicious. He was filled with curiosity about this organization. He felt that they had a great background and perhaps did not care about Shui Guan's life or death. Look! The broken cauldron was very fast. It rushed to the end of the tunnel like a celestial body. This tunnel was like a spatial wormhole that traversed space-time and led to an unknown region. When it approached, Su Yen and company were alarmed because they saw the vast Inyang River flowing. When they reached the end and were about to cross into another space, they were stunned by the scene before them. The extreme In River and extreme Yang River here were too magnificent and grand. Two ancient rivers had been flowing here for who knew how many years. One was as black as ink, as majestic as an underground river that ran through a vast territory. The other was dazzling and resplendent, as if it were a golden river flowing through the heavens. Su Yen had the mentality of following the Yangtze River and escaping into the vast ocean. The two rivers of Yin and Yang lay before their eyes, and they flowed with surging waves. They didn't merge with each other, and they were like two opposing rivers that surged and whistled while surging with an ancient and grand might that suppressed the universe. From the Yin-Yang galaxy of the Big Dipper, they entered an even grander Yin-Yang galaxy through the space-time tunnel. It had to be said that this was quite shocking. The two heavenly rivers seemed to flow within the cosmos, and they were also like two great waterfalls that fell down from outer space. They were mysterious and shocking. Motherf *Ker look. Tai Baokai was so excited that his entire body was trembling. He saw extreme yang fish leaping out of the golden river one after another. This wasn't a single fish, but rather a school of them that soared into the air. Every single extreme yang fish seemed to be carved out of gold. They surged with golden multicolored light, and their brilliance was dazzling. They contained exuberant yang energy. Meanwhile, the opposing black celestial river suddenly became as black as ink. However, there were also schools of extreme Yin fish leaping out of the river's surface. Every single one of them was emitting boundless black divine radiance and surging with Yin Qi. Oh my God! Yuan was dumbfounded. What was this? This was simply a super treasure trove. After all, there were too many Yin-Yang fish. They danced in schools and leaped out of the river's surface. This place was like a celestial land that hadn't been opened for millions of years. It had nurtured many, many rare treasures. The Yin-Yang fish was a limited resource. It could increase one's potential and strengthen one's qi and blood. This was an extremely rare species. Even in the distant era when the cosmos was rich in resources, Yin-Yang fish were still extremely rare. But here they could actually form schools. If news of this were to spread, even the Almighty would lose their composure and kill their way over to seize this fortune. After all, this was too important for a tribe. It could nurture a large number of young cultivators with great potential. The tribe would also continue to prosper in the future and even reach a glorious realm. That Fish King couldn't have swum here along the Yin-Yang galaxy, right? Tai Baokai wondered. Tensor said in a deep voice, after the excitement, it's also terrifying. This organization is too astonishing. They secretly control such a shocking amount of wealth. Don't forget, this is just another channel. There's another channel. Yuan was shocked. That was true. Perhaps there was another channel that was similar, but it was strange. Why didn't they collect the fortunes of the yin-yang fish? Could it be that they didn't nurture their disciples? Or perhaps they were still secretly plotting other fortunes and opportunities. I'm thinking, could there be other channels in this yin-yang galaxy? Su Yan's words caused Bao Kai and the others' expressions to change. After careful consideration, they felt that it was impossible. The fortunes here were already terrifying enough. If there really were other fortunes, how could the Peak Tribe survive? No matter what, haha brothers, I won't die. Su Yan laughed excitedly. He was also coughing up blood. His injuries were getting worse, but would it be a problem for him to face these yin-yang fish? If he ate thousands of them, would he still have to worry about not being able to heal his injuries? Although the yin-yang fish wasn't a healing panacea, they were extremely nutritious. They could definitely replenish Su Yan's depleted foundation. They could even use these yin-yang fish to increase the foundation of the four brothers. Ha ha ha! Yuan and the others laughed heartily. Who wouldn't be excited about this opportunity? Who wouldn't be cheering and jumping for joy? Watch me. Bao Kai rushed over and brought out a large net. This net was woven from precious plants and was as hard as divine metal. It wasn't easy to fish out the yin-yang fish in the yin-yang galaxy. He had to use 120% of his strength. 1. The green net shone brightly, radiating brilliant multicolored light in all directions. The moment it was thrown out, the net rapidly enlarged, enough to cover an entire mountain. This large net was thrown into the extreme Yang River, just like that. The moment it entered the river, the green net began to distort. It couldn't be helped. The pressure was too shocking. Bao Kai threw the net into the school of fish. When the green net fell, the school of fish was thrown into chaos. All kinds of terrifying light erupted. It was as if a group of suns had exploded. It was very shocking. The yin-yang fish had extremely strong battle prowess in the yin-yang galaxy. The battle prowess of a school of fish couldn't be ignored. This net slammed down fiercely and bound over a dozen yin-yang fish. These yin-yang fish shone and struggled to break free. This green net was about to be torn apart. This made Su Yan and the others shocked. This net was enough to bind great Dao realm experts, but now it was almost torn apart by over a dozen yin-yang fish. Fortunately, the fishing was successful. Over a dozen yin-yang fish were fished out, each of them overflowing with auspicious multicolored light and surging with yang qi. Ha ha! We've struck gold. Brother Su Yan can be saved. Loud laughter rang out from the riverbank. Tensor directly took out a large cauldron and placed all the yin-yang fish into it. He then took out spiritual spring water and prepared to boil a large pot of yin-yang fish soup. Right now, Su Yan needed great nourishment to nourish his crippled body. The yin-yang fish soup definitely had this effect. Dao fire burned in the cauldron. The lively yin-yang fish struggled fiercely, but under the refinement of the Dao fire, they couldn't hold on for long. Very soon, rare treasured liquid was formed in the cauldron. The yin-yang fish turned into a golden liquid, and the yin-yang fish turned into a black liquid. The medicinal effects of these two rare great nourishment medicines mixed together, gradually forming the yin-yang fish soup. Watch this beast god. The Bao Kai happily fished. He even took out a small fishing boat and sailed across the riverbank. He continuously cast his net, catching over a dozen yin-yang fish at a time. Soon, he caught over 100 yin-yang fish. The divine light in the cauldron surged, seething even more. What kind of concept was over 100 yin-yang fish? If news of this spread out, who knew how many people would be scared to death? Even deities would be scared out of their wit. Every pair of yin-yang fish would be sold for a sky-high price in an auction. It had excellent nourishing effects for the younger generation. As for the yin-yang fish soup refined from over 100 yin-yang fish, it was resplendent and burning fiercely. It was yin and yang, a product of creation. Yuan clicked his tongue in wonder. This is really a product of creation, and yin and yang as the furnace. Su Yan, if you enter now, you will definitely be able to recover and walk out full of energy. When the time comes, your combat strength might even be stronger. Su Yan was also excited. After delaying his recovery for so long, he could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Even Yuan and the rest could use the effects of the yin-yang fish to continuously increase their potential and lay down a peerless foundation. This would be greatly beneficial to their future development. After all, the physical bodies of the Baokai trio were extremely strong. The yin-yang fish was extremely important to them. They could definitely eat and drink extravagantly. You guys be careful. I'll go in to recuperate first. I don't know how long I'll be in seclusion this time. Don't wander around for the time being. I'm really worried that there might be some evil spirit here. Su Yan reminded them worriedly. He then entered the large cauldron. The cauldron had already turned into liquid. Rather than calling it fish soup, it was more like a furnace of rare treasured medicine. The moment he entered the cauldron, his body began to glow. His body, which was in extreme pain, was instantly soothed. The extreme yin fish's effects were mild and refreshing. It soothed the burning pain in Su Yan's body. Su Yan's body, which had deteriorated to the point of suffocating him, was replenished by the extreme yang fish. Yang qi evaporated and his blood began to recover in all aspects. It was like a withered flower that had been nourished. His life was being restored. A path to survival had been opened. Ah! Su Yan let out a miserable cry. He was in too much pain. This was because his body was about to rot. Now, he was using the strength of his recovery to reconstruct his rotting body. It was as if he was reshaping his human form. The process was excruciating. After all, this was equivalent to reshaping his body. He endured the pain and awakened his body. Only by receiving the nourishment of the yin-yang fish soup could he ensure that no accidents would occur during the recovery process. Hold on. Yuan and the others were worried. In fact, if it weren't for the essence of the Big Dipper divine medicine, Su Yan would not have been able to hold on until now. Now that he was reshaping his body, it was even more painful than being torn apart by 5 horses. I'm recovering. Brothers, I won't die. Su Yan roared with red eyes. His will was peerlessly strong. His body burned fiercely as he crazily absorbed the energy of the yin-yang fish soup. He reshaped his body and reconstructed his bones. His organs were shattered and needed to be reconstructed. This was extremely unbearable. With every breath that passed, Su Yan felt like he was falling into purgatory. When the pain reached its peak, Su Yan even forgot about it. This was because his spirit and will had already become numb. Even under the miraculous effects of the yin-yang fish soup, his pain began to lessen. His body, which was riddled with holes, emitted an aura of vitality that gradually strengthened. Success. Chapter 6:21. The Tao cauldron glowed and gushed out with the tide of life. This Tao cauldron was becoming more and more extraordinary. The mouth of the cauldron was like the sky as yang qi poured down. The legs of the cauldron sank into the ground as yin qi rose. The interior of the cauldron seemed to have formed a universe where yin and yang qi blended and gave birth to all living things. This was very much in line with Su Yan's current physical domain. The Inception Sutra, the beginning of all living things, explained the profound meaning behind the recovery of one's potential. Moreover, it was cultivated to the extent where one's body was like a universe. Su Yan's body was like a universe. Although it could be said that the universe was badly damaged, with the nourishment of the yin and yang qi, his broken body began to recover at an increasingly rapid pace. Su Yan's body was already terrifying to begin with. This time, he had almost died from his injuries. Now, he had found a large number of yin and yang fish in the yin and yang river and boiled them into yin and yang fish soup. The divine energy contained within was extremely pure. Even the peak races couldn't afford such extravagant healing methods. This wasn't inferior to a divine medicine. The key was that yin and yang fish were too rare. Now that he had found so many, it would be of great help to Su Yan's injuries. Bang bang bang! The Baokai cast its net continuously and threw yin and yang fish into the Tao cauldron. If the divine king were to see this scene, he would feel terrible. After all, it was too extravagant. The yin and yang qi in the cauldron increased and continuously nourished Su Yan's injured body. His rotting body had already been reconstructed. Moreover, 3 days and 3 nights had passed. When the reconstruction was complete, his body began to crackle and rattle. Su Yan's pores spurted out blood foam, accompanied by broken bones and flesh. This was like the old bones that had fallen off after being smashed. After completing the reconstruction of his physical body had given birth to new flesh and blood. Su Yan is being reborn? Yuan had been observing the whole time, and this scene made him excited. Look, there are a lot of broken bones and flesh being squeezed out. New bones are growing out of the body, and the corporeal body is definitely stronger. What a great opportunity! That was a boundless myriad tribulation. Even brother Su Yan survived it. Although he almost perished under the thunder tribulation, he has now risen from the ashes. From death to life, I reckon he has revealed an even more formidable life force and potential, which has led to a small transformation. Tensor said with a smile. Given Su Yan's physical body, a small-scale metamorphosis was already terrifying enough. After all, his physical body at the Great Tao realm was too terrifying, capable of killing paragon physiques. This was especially so after receiving nourishment from the Big Dipper's source energy. Su Yan's physical body would definitely become even stronger. It could be said that Su Yan had gathered the body of the Great Tao. However, the body of the Great Tao had been shattered during the catastrophe. Now, Su Yan's physical body had been reconstructed and transformed. Therefore, it was equivalent to Su Yan's own potential being raised to a higher level. Therefore, this was especially shocking. Su Yan's aura was still very weak and declining. That was because the losses were too great, and the exhaustion was too severe. However, he had now survived the most dangerous juncture. The transformation this time was also very smooth and swift. Everything seemed to have come naturally. It was also because the yin-yang fish was strong enough. A large amount of the yin-yang fish had turned into liquid, providing nourishing medicinal effects for Su Yan's body, prompting Su Yan to complete the reconstruction of his physical body. His current physical body was equivalent to a new embryo. 1. Su Yan's physical body shone, and his body hummed on its own. Although he looked very weak and declining, when he began to cultivate, his body seemed to have turned into a small sun. As he swallowed, the entire region sank into darkness. The essence of the yin-yang fish soup was rapidly reduced. It was as if he had eaten a great tonic. His declining physical body blazed countless times more, and the dried-up blood essence in his body rapidly strengthened and surged. It had to be said that this was extremely fast. Su Yan had already survived this calamity. Every time he breathed, the pores on his body would glow. When his chest rose and fell, the surrounding space would rumble. As he breathed, the entire region would tremble. His cultivation speed was too fast. Yuan hurriedly took out a large amount of Heaven's Essence stones to help Su Yan replenish the exhaustion in his body. After all, the yin-yang fish was an item that could increase one's potential. How could it replenish Su Yan's exhaustion? An almighty would be angered to death if they saw it. Furthermore, there weren't so many yin-yang fish for Su Yan to use. I'm going to take a walk in the depth. I have to capture all the yin-yang fish and take them away as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the experts of this organization come again, we will be exposed. When that happens, we will definitely have to run, Baokai shouted. Yuan had asked Tensor to stay here to protect Su Yan. He was prepared to join forces with Baokai to explore. You guys be careful, Tensor said. If you encounter an accident, retreat immediately. The creation here is too amazing. The more you take away, the more uneasy I will be. Even Baokai was frightened, let alone Tensor. They had cast a net to catch fish here, but they hadn't even seen a ghost guarding the treasure. Was there really no one here? Or was this organization strong enough and confident enough? No matter what, they were becoming more and more careful. They felt that this was a pie that had fallen from the sky. They were eating it too smoothly. Now, all the Inyang fish by the river had been caught by Baokai. It drove the small boat and started to cross the interior. In order to prevent any accidents, it had also taken out the banners of demons to prevent any accident. Boom! The sound of a vast myriad tribulation exploded here, startling Tensor, who was sitting cross-legged. His face suddenly turned ugly as he looked inside the Tao cauldron where Su Yan was sitting cross-legged. Su Yan, who had been rapidly growing stronger, suddenly had his body torn apart. All kinds of tribulation aura seeped out of his body. It was as if a vast myriad tribulation had manifested in his body, wanting to strangle him completely. Not good. Tensor's eyes widened in anger. He sensed that this was the killing power of the great Tao of the Thunder Tribulation. It had remained in Su Yan's body and had been drawn out at the critical moment. It wanted to destroy Su Yan's reconstructed body in an instant. However, Su Yan had withstood it. His body had been torn apart, and it was on the verge of exploding. What happened to you? Yuan turned pale with fright. Su Yan had clearly recovered from his injuries, but now the surging power had shattered Su Yan's battle body. If this continued, his battle body would not be able to recover at all. Even if it recovered, it would continue to crack, and the problem would be very bad. I'm fine. Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened. They were sharp and frightening. His eyes were filled with a domineering aura, filled with an aura of supremacy. It was like an invincible spiritual will in the heavens and the earth. It was captivating. Tensor realized that Su Yan had changed. It was frightening and frightening. This was definitely an invincible will. But your injuries are serious. If you come again in the future, it will be too dangerous. We have to solve the root of the problem. Tensor felt that Su Yan's physical injuries were particularly serious. This made him very nervous. Could it be that the tribulation from back then was not over yet? Was it going to happen again? It's fine. Su Yan did not care at all. He exuded a peerless will and shouted, "It's just a great path injury. It can't hurt me." A great path injury. Tensor's heart trembled. This kind of injury was too serious. Moreover, Su Yan had encountered countless tribulations. Who could bear the great path injury that was left behind? Yuan was worried at first, but when he heard Su Yan's words, he was relieved. At this point, Su Yan did not need to continue hiding it. Su Yan did not care at all. He looked as if he was the master of the Tao. His broken body was burning and surging. Although the great path injury was terrifying, Su Yan did not care anymore. When he was going through the tribulation, Su Yan used the beginning sutra to suppress the power of the tribulation. At that time, Su Yan discovered that the great path of the tribulation could be deciphered and even controlled by the beginning sutra. From there, he could master and perfect Su Yan's inner path, which was the state of the universe. He could temper himself into a great path, heavenly soldier. Boom! A loud explosion sounded again. The world where Su Yan was blurred. Under Tensor's shocked gaze, Su Yan seemed to have turned into a peerless cauldron with 3 legs and 2 handles. It contained the aura of suppressing the universe. He was like a cauldron, like the universe. An object flew out from Su Yan's body. It was the life cauldron that Su Yan had forged. He began to look back at the special realm of the armor-building realm. The object that was built could also be called the body. The armor-building realm, what is built is me. I am the Tao, the cauldron, the universe, or all things in the universe, the beginning of heaven and earth. Su Yan's body burned fiercely. An extremely grand aura of the Great Path was released from his body. It was like a celestial light, bright and translucent. It also contained all kinds of heavy aura of the Great Path. Su Yan seemed to have turned into a vast myriad of tribulations. His entire body was filled with the aura of tribulations. Myriad tribulations body. Tensor mumbled to himself. He seemed to have seen Su Yan turn into a body of tribulations. It was steaming with the light of various great paths. This was the power of the vast myriad of tribulations. Su Yan was attacked by the myriad of tribulations during his tribulations. Every time he went through it, it was extremely difficult. This was a battle of heavenly tribulations that made one despair. Su Yan had faked his death to get through it and avoid being locked on by the heavenly tribulations. After all, no matter how strong Su Yan was now, it was impossible for him to fight against the universe. He could only lay low. During this period of time, he had been comprehending the myriad of tribulations, using the power of the beginning sutra to drive and evolve. He wanted to further perfect what he had learned. Su Yan did not care about the injuries of the Great Path. If he grasped the myriad of tribulations, the myriad of Taos, the Tao was him, and he was the Tao. The master of the myriad of Taos? Tensor mumbled to himself. Was he walking toward an extreme? Was he in the most terrifying mystic realm of the Great Path realm? Tensor did not know how strong a supreme being was. However, he knew that Su Yan would definitely be terrifying in the future. He would definitely be able to walk on the path of contending for hegemony in the universe. Su Yan's body spewed out various resplendent light beams. His pores seemed to be spewing out the power of the myriad of Taos. Tensor realized that Su Yan was constantly changing. He was like a cauldron, or a sword, or a bell, or a true dragon. In short, Su Yan seemed to be ever-changing. Various light beams kept flashing out of his body. This was the power of the Great Path. It was as if the myriad of Taos were hidden in his body, helping Su Yan to become an immortal physical heavenly soldier. Although these great paths seemed very vague, Su Yan had already touched them. As long as he could grasp them, he would definitely be able to comprehend them. Chapter 622. The initial sutra could be said to be extremely difficult, but it could also be said to be relatively easy. This all depended on one's understanding. The initial sutra evolved according to the human body's treasures, like the form of the universe. The higher the evolution, the more difficult it was. If Su Yan really wanted to break through to the great Tao realm, then he could directly do so. However, Su Yan had been studying the great Tao chapters of the initial sutra for several years, and his gains were getting bigger and bigger. Especially after coming into contact with the great Tao mountain, Su Yan felt that it wasn't that easy to unleash the initial sutra to the great Tao realm. After all, the universe's environment had changed, and it was fundamentally different from the past. If he broke through along with it, then the initial sutra wouldn't be the famous Mother Sutra anymore. However, when he was transcending the tribulation, Su Yan was struck by the boundless tribulation. That kind of pain and suffering that went deep into his bones, Su Yan endured, but now it was time to reap the fruits of his labor. There was a rumor in ancient times that if one could survive after experiencing the lightning tribulation, they would gain something. The boundless tribulation that Su Yan experienced was equivalent to experiencing the slashing of 10,000 great Taos. After being tempered by the great Tao, his comprehension was very deep. In Su Yan's body, it was as if there were 10,000 great Taos turning into killing swords that slashed inside Su Yan's body. Even now, the power of the heavenly tribulation could still gather and cause another destructive attack on Su Yan. However, Su Yan wasn't afraid of this at all. As long as he could comprehend 10,000 great Daos, even if it was just a preliminary grasp, he could resolve the crisis. At the same time, he could forge his own great Tao to be even more heaven-defying and astonishing. Buzz! His broken body glowed, attracting the essence of heaven and earth to nourish his broken body. At the same time, Su Yan's forehead glowed, and the primordial spirit that was sitting cross-legged inside walked out with a solemn expression. Su Yan's primordial spirit was about to transform into the Tao and step into the power of the void refinement realm. Whose Tao was it? Su Yan wanted to merge his primordial spirit with his Tao. His primordial spirit glowed and resonated with his corporeal body, which was equivalent to the fusion of spirit and body. In this state, the boundless aura of 10,000 tribulations emerged, causing Su Yan's primordial spirit to be on the verge of collapse. The Great Tao's primordial spirit. Su Yan had to cultivate 10,000 Tao and comprehend 10,000 Great Tao. After all, to cultivate 10,000 Great Tao and comprehend 10,000 Tao, Su, primordial void refinement realm. He wasn't worried about the damage to his primordial spirit. Right now, he was in control of a super treasure trove. He took out the power of the yin-yang fish soup to nourish his primordial spirit and strengthen the soul chi within it. In the process, his primordial spirit was constantly comprehending the myriad Daos and learning them. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Su Yan was still sitting cross-legged and comprehending the Tao. He did not show any signs of strength. Everything about his cultivation seemed very peaceful. In the distant yin-yang celestial river, huge waves rolled to the sky, and a small boat was on the verge of collapse. "They're here." Zhang Liang hurriedly stood up and saw Bao Kai and Yi Yuan driving the small boat to swiftly cross the river. During the process, the small boat trembled ceaselessly, and to Zhang Liang's shock, all sorts of golden lights erupted from the extreme Yang River that the small boat passed through. Many extreme Yang fish were hitting the boat. These extreme Yang fish seemed to be psychic. They formed a school and started hitting the boat crazily. This made Bao Kai drool and curse. There was a lot of creation, but their strength was limited. They couldn't take it all in one go. Yi Yuan was wearing silver battle armor. Her strength wasn't inferior to the immortals. Even so, it was still very difficult for them to fish in the river. Swoosh! Finally, the small boat flew out. Tensor let out a sigh of relief. He walked up and asked about the situation inside. The yin-yang river was too vast. They couldn't see the end. In this space, there was only the yin-yang river. It was a little strange. Bao Kai took out a bag. Dozens of yin-yang fish flew out. The harvest wasn't great. Of course, it was compared to the school of fish in the yin-yang river. We picked some great herbs. The school of fish went crazy and chased after us. Yi Yuan laughed dryly and said, "In the depths of the river, some miraculous herbs were nurtured. I felt that they were extremely valuable. During the process of harvesting them, I was chased by shoals of fish." "What? There are herbs in here?" Tensor was stunned. He quickly walked up to take a look. Bao Kai took out 3 stalks of translucent golden grass. They looked like a type of river grass, but these golden river grass were very impressive. Each blade of grass was translucent like gold and jade, overflowing with auspicious clouds. Tensor sensed carefully. He realized that there was an extremely rich yang qi hidden in the river grass. It looked like a type of extreme yang grass. It was very special. Tensor was moved. Bao Kai and the rest even said that the school of fish gathered around the extreme yang grass, as if they were guarding these herbs. They picked one and the school of fish immediately went berserk. They studied this extreme yang grass. In the end, they realized that the yang qi it contained was very vigorous. It was even more vigorous than that of the extreme yang fish. This shocked them. They felt that this thing was extraordinary. "I feel that it's getting more and more evil. There's not a single person in such a big treasure trove." Yi Yuan stared. His messy hair fell over his shoulders. He felt that it was somewhat inconceivable. After all, why wasn't anyone collecting the fortunes in such a terrifying place of fortune? Why wasn't there anyone guarding it? Don't think about it. Let's eat first. We have to collect more fortunes as soon as possible. If there's an accident, we can retreat quickly. Baokai urged. They divided up the yin-yang fish cleanly and refined the yin-yang qi to nourish their bodies. They gained a lot in the process. After all, this was a combination of potential and physical strength. Such a treasure trove was too earth-shattering. Time flew by slowly. Months passed by one after another. It had been 3 months since they escaped into the yin-yang sky river. Baokai and the others often went out to fish, but the yin-yang fish in the yin-yang sky river were frightened one after another and fled in all directions. Their harvest was gradually decreasing. However, even if they did get one, they would still spend a lot of energy searching for it. After all, the value of the yin-yang fish was too terrifying. It made their wealth soar like a rocket. Boom! On this day, Su Yan's aura gradually changed. His aura became more and more profound. It was like a bottomless source of the great Tao. All kinds of great Tao radiance gushed out and illuminated the sky. This was like a mysterious world that gave birth to all things. There were the stars of the universe, the sun, the moon, and the sun. There were all kinds of auspicious beasts, great calamities, yin-yang, plants, and ancient people. The phenomena were profound and unfathomable. They were so profound that they constantly vibrated with the power of the great Tao. Su Yan sat cross-legged in the abyss. He was like the master of the great Tao in all things. He had thousands of great Tao techniques and was unfathomable. Although these great Tao phenomena were relatively vague, it could be said that there were many seals revolving around Su Yan. All kinds of profound phenomena filled the great Tao phenomena. Among them, a sacred figure sat cross-legged in the void. He looked solemn and dignified as he chanted the heavenly voice of the great Tao. This was Su Yan's primordial spirit. It was resplendent and blazing. It was as if he was sitting cross-legged in the future, evolving along great Tao river that was about to walk toward the present world, refining the spirit into the void, refining the void into the Tao. This was the supreme profoundness of the primordial spirit realm. Su Yan used his primordial spirit to verify his Tao and techniques, causing his primordial spirit to transform into the great Tao primordial spirit. Under normal circumstances, only gods could do this. There were too few great Tao realm cultivators who could do this. Putting aside the danger, one's understanding of the Tao had to reach the extreme. However, Su Yan used the Sutra of Future to guard it. He used the power of the Sutra of Future to evolve the great Tao. It was as if he was evolving the power of the great Tao of the future to baptize his primordial spirit, causing Su Yan's primordial spirit to become more and more shocking. The Sutra of Future was a secret of Buddhism. It was known as one of the most profound sutras in the field of the primordial spirit. It involved time and time. However, Su Yan's natural mystical power was related to time and space. Therefore, Su Yan's primordial spirit changed greatly. Boom! Another period of time passed. Su Yan's primordial spirit became very shocking. It transformed into a huge Buddha that sat at the end of heaven and earth. It had a solemn and dignified appearance. Its figure filled the universe and surged with the heavenly light of the great Tao. Buddhism cultivates Buddhism, but Su Yan used Buddhism sutras to guide the Tao to temper his primordial spirit. Tensor pondered. Su Yan cultivated the Sutra of Future. This is the supreme heavenly art of Buddhism. This sutra is definitely not simple. Baokai mumbled. It's said that the Buddhist region has a unique great Tao and world environment. Cultivating Buddhism instead of great Tao, is this a path of one's own? Tensor had never been to the Buddhist region before. He also rarely encountered cultivators from the Buddhist region. However, West Buddha was one of the 4 supreme beings of the heavens. His fame was widespread and resounding. The Sutra of Future cultivated the primordial spirit. Su Yen increasingly felt that the Sutra of Future was a special heavenly art that could guide the primordial spirit to cultivate. However, it wasn't restricted to the form of energy. In short, Su Yan's primordial spirit had improved greatly. His primordial spirit was filled with tyrannical power. It was nourished by the Tao and supplemented by the yin-yang fish. It was like a golden god that sat cross-legged in the future, overlooking the universe. Month after month of accumulation, the primordial spirit sat cross-legged on the enlightenment stone. Finally, one day, Tao sounds rumbled between heaven and earth. Thousands of strands of auspicious clouds and purple clouds filled the sky. Boom! After half a year of silence, the golden primordial spirit released a terrifying aura. It revealed its divinity between heaven and earth. The huge golden primordial spirit was like an immemorial mountain. The aura it emitted made the primordial spirits of Yuan and the others feel like they were about to break apart. This was an extremely heaven-defying scene. Su Yan's primordial spirit was filled with the aura of the divine Tao. This was a power that only the primordial spirit of a god could possess. It supported the universe and contained the abyss of the great Tao, releasing endless Buddhist light. Moreover, Su Yan's primordial spirit was blurry and mysterious. It towered at the end of the world, standing in the future and overlooking the present world. Su Yan's corporeal body, which had been silent for half a year, trembled. It resonated with his primordial spirit. At this moment, his primordial spirit became one with his primordial spirit and emitted an overflowing radiance. He rushed into the firmament and then fell down. It could be said that all things in the heavens were falling down as they revolved around Su Yan. This was a wisp of terrifying power awakening. Su Yan's hair danced wildly as the aura in his body awakened. He was like a god of war that suppressed the universe. His Tao physique was exceptional and his aura could swallow rivers and mountains. Boom! It was as if he was merging with the Tao of the heavens. Tens of thousands of apparitions revolved around him. His body was like the carrier of the great Tao. All the apparitions of the great Tao surrounded and protected Su Yan, setting him off to become extremely powerful. Chapter 6:23. Strange phenomena appeared between heaven and earth, filled with auspicious signs of the great Tao. This did not seem to be a massacre born from the boundless myriad tribulations. Instead, it was Su Yan's Tao and Dharma, his own power and Dharma. It seemed to be born from the world within his body, and there was the sound of the great Tao resonating with it. How can there be so much power of the great Tao? Tensor muttered to himself. I seem to see the myriad Tao revolving around Su Yan. Although the myriad seals surround and protect him, how powerful must this sutra be to drive the power of the myriad Tao? I feel that this path seems to be very difficult. That's right. Yuan nodded solemnly. Su Yan had now awakened. He had been in seclusion for more than half a year since he recovered from his injuries. Now, it could be said that he had been reborn from the ashes. His combat strength had climbed several levels, and he was completely different from before. He stood between heaven and earth, as if he had turned into a cosmic wormhole. The power of the myriad Tao passed through his physical body and through the universe, filling this world with the aura of the myriad Tao. Tens of thousands of Taos gathered here, but they did not collide with each other. This was all because Su Yan had used the beginning sutra to evolve into the form of a universe. It was as if Su Yan had transformed into a universe. He had established a new environment and evolved the proper order. It had to be said that it was especially amazing. It could be called a miracle. After more than half a year, Baokai and the others had changed a lot. In particular, Baokai had absorbed a new type of seal. He had already obtained a total of 8 supreme seals of the great Tao demon realm. If he gathered one more, he would have a total of 9. The treasure of the banners of demons was also gradually uncovered by Baokai. Sooner or later, this treasure would erupt in the universe again. But when that time came, it was still unknown how strong it would be. Yuan and Tensor had swallowed a large number of yin-yang fish and unearthed more potential in their physical bodies. They had also changed a lot and could easily release super powerful combat strength. In the future, when they traveled the universe, they would definitely make a name for themselves. Of course, there were still many yin-yang fish left. Now, they often went out to sea to fish. It had been more than half a year, and there was not even a shadow of a ghost here. It was simply a treasure trove isolated from the world. But they gradually became worried, because they had already changed the location of the treasure. They gradually discovered a particularly serious problem. How were they going to leave this place? Motherf **Ker, are we going to be trapped to death? After a few more months, they were no longer in the mood to cultivate. If it wasn't for the abundant worldly essence chi, they would be even more anxious. After all, no matter how strong a cultivator was, without the nourishment of worldly essence chi, they would continue to decline and eventually become mortals. The space where the yin-yang sky river was located was like an independent world. However, no matter how they traversed this independent world, they were always going in circles inside. In the end, they understood that this was because the space-time power inside was too shocking. Such a terrifying method that even they couldn't detect meant that the problem was serious. Perhaps it was a space-time world opened up by a mighty figure. If this world couldn't be opened, then to them, it was just waiting for death. Motherf **Ker, aren't they afraid that we'll clean up all the fish? Hurry up and open this damned place. Bao Kai was cursing. His fat body, which was black and white, was lying in the small boat. He crossed his legs and floated on the river. From time to time, he would cast a net to catch fish. Although they were tempted here, how to get out was a big problem. Yuan and the others smiled bitterly. They had been concentrating on cultivating during this time. Now that they were focusing on getting out, they found that there was nothing they could do. Su Yen is about to wake up. Tensor exclaimed when he saw Su Yen, who had been floating in the void for months, suddenly release his aura again. However, when he woke up this time, he let out a roar. His primordial spirit returned and his body was awakened, emitting a magnificent light. It was as if a divine cave had been opened and the power of the Great Path emerged. Su Yan's physical body was like a huge whirlpool. As he sucked, the tens of thousands of rays of light that were circulating between the heavens and the earth suddenly began to gather in the world within Su Yan's body. What is he doing? Yuan and the others watched as if they saw Su Yan absorb a world of the Great Path and return it to his body and the universe inside his body. His body kept rumbling and endless light of the Great Path emerged. He was like a real universe that hid all things in the universe and emitted a terrifying aura of the beginning of all things. Boom! The world exploded, unable to withstand the surging airflow in Su Yan's body. It was a terrifying and heaven-defying scene. The Great Path returned to one and gathered in Su Yan's body, driven by the power of the beginning sutra. The aura of the Great Path gushed out of Su Yan's body like the sea, roaring and howling. His aura increased sharply. When it exploded to the limit, the universe seemed to have undergone a big bang. His body was like the universe, evolving into chaos. Oh no! Bao Kai growled. He sensed that the situation in Su Yan's body was not right. The power of the Great Path was too heaven-defying. It gathered in Su Yan's body, but could he really control this ability? The answer was that it was impossible now. Su Yan's body trembled violently, and cracks appeared on his body. It was like a celestial cave that was falling apart and was about to be destroyed. Ha ha ha! However, Su Yan laughed while bathed in blood. His disheveled hair danced in the wind. He did not care about the injuries on his body. His laughter shook the world and spread to the yin-yang celestial river, causing huge waves to form on the surface of the river. Is he crazy? Baokai said with a simple and honest face. Could it be that he lost his mind in the process of enlightenment? His heart has been taken over by the great path. Don't talk nonsense. Yuan shook his head and said, I reckon that Su Yan's path is not finished yet. The great path still has the possibility of improvement. Tensor nodded and agreed with Yuan's words. Su Yan had already cultivated to this step and could even comprehend the great path. What Tao calamity could stop Su Yan? Without a doubt, Su Yan's aura calmed down very quickly, and the great path gradually fell into silence. His physical injuries were serious, but with Su Yan's current battle body, this kind of injury could not threaten him. The essence in his body rose and penetrated his body, repairing his physique. Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened. He had experienced too much during this period of time. His path, his great path, had been ignited since the opening of the Great Path Mountain. After the boundless myriad calamities, everything had come naturally. Of course, Su Yan lacked time now. He needed a lot of time to perfect what he had learned so that he could embark on the great path, returning to one. However, Su Yan felt that this path was still a bit far from him. It was too early to talk about it now. However, he already had a rough outline of his future cultivation. As long as the time was right, he could break through. This was especially shocking. The future cultivation path was smooth sailing. All he lacked was time and opportunity. There's no way out? They talked together and told him about the events that had happened during this period of time. Su Yan frowned and said, This is too strange. We have occupied this land of fortune for a year, but there's not even a ghost here. No one even came to investigate. It's unbelievable. What kind of organization did we encounter? Just this resource land alone is enough to make the peak races go crazy. Even the Almighty will bow down. Yuan was speechless and said, We have harvested more than 1,000 pairs of yin-yang fish. What kind of concept is this? Their value cannot be measured by money. There's even a lot of extreme yang grass and extreme yin grass. They felt that these two types of plants were very impressive, so they did not use them too much. There were even some yin-yang fish in the yin-yang sky river that had not been fished out. Now that Su Yan had awakened, they had hopes of harvesting more yin-yang fish. When they got out in the future, they would make a fortune. All of them have become rich and have a lot of money. Su Yan laughed, but his heart was silent. He had experienced too many things during this period of time. From the Divine Mountain Range until now, 3 to 4 years had passed. Su Yan felt a sense of urgency. He wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. He did not know what had happened outside. He did not know if his information had been leaked or if the earth had been exposed. Get out, we must get out as soon as possible. Su Yan began to investigate the area and took out the yin-yang compass. With his mastery of strange techniques, he would definitely be able to see some energy substances that they could not see. It could also be that there was a space-time seal. Time passed day by day. Su Yan searched while catching yin-yang fish and picking 2 types of strange flowers. He gained a lot. This was because Su Yan had mastered the Fist of Time. It was a one-hit wonder. However, half a month had passed. Su Yan's mood became more and more serious. This was because he could not see through it. The heaven and earth seemed to be complete. It was a whole, an independent world. He could not find a way to leave. There's no password. What's the incantation to open the yin-yang cave? If we're trapped here, we'll be in big trouble. Su Yan breathed heavily. They needed the key to open the space-time seal. When the yin-yang sky river's fortune was excavated, they were dumbfounded. How were they going to get out? Were they really going to be trapped here for more than 10 years or even longer? After all, this place was isolated from the outside world. They had no idea what was happening outside. And recently, Bamboo Moon came out of seclusion and attained the heavenly god realm. With her talent, it was easy to imagine how powerful and heaven-defying Bamboo Moon was. She even cultivated the immortal scripture, the Big Dipper scripture. I've already broken through to the heavenly God realm. Am I still far from the divine king? Bamboo Moon's starry eyes lit up. She was peerless and her body faintly emitted heavenly God wave. If it weren't for the Big Dipper divine medicine and Su Yen triggering the Big Dipper's origin, time wouldn't have passed so quickly. Even my harvest wouldn't be so great. It's much better than I expected. I wonder if Su Yen will bring me any other surprises after becoming the Big Dipper sovereign? If the Big Dipper Star Pagoda can be activated, our sect will have a shocking foundation. Even Almighties won't be able to invade.